I guess there was an earthquake this morning in San Francisco. So we could have been on Radio Row in the middle of an earthquake. And I don't know.
I don't know either. But that would have been cool. We were scheduled to be out at Radio Row if the Chiefs made the Super Bowl. As you remember, that didn't happen or come anywhere close to it. And so really what we spend a huge chunk of this offseason is how quick can you get back to top form? And so I've now read 3 different articles, one over at Arrowhead Pride and a couple of other sites, mentioning, hey, here's the shortcut way to get the team back, and that is trading for a defensive end. So last week we talked about what you would do for wide receiver, where you'd make these changes. And let's admit that a elite level edge pass rusher is what the Chiefs have been searching for a long time. So of course, when you start talking about those names, Max Crosby is never going to come here, right? As in the Raiders will never trade him here. Let me be clear on that, I guess. He might come here. I don't know. But they're not going to trade him here. But the name that keeps coming up is, should they be pursuing a trade for a guy like Myles Garrett? As in, I don't know, one of the 3 best pass rushers in the NFL, a guy who just set the single-season sack record for the Cleveland Browns. I'll start off by saying the Browns should trade him. The number's incredibly high. He just set a record in a season, and by the time you're good, Myles Garrett won't be the same.
He'll be 33, 34 years old before you know it.
So you better damn sure accept the fact that you are years and years away, genuinely, at least 2 years away from competing. And if you're not going to get the next 2 years of Myles Garrett, why is he wasting time on your roster? Versus the Chiefs, if I told you tomorrow Myles Garrett was on the team Gold, your whole, I don't know if they can compete for a Super Bowl next year conversation's dead. Immediately, the conversation changes. And that's maybe the appeal of it. I just don't think they're in the position where it makes sense right now. I wouldn't take those chances right now.
I don't think they can take on that kind of money for starters. I think that,
they have to rework a lot.
I think that's the biggest issue, other than, would the Browns even do it? I agree with you on the Browns side of it, knowing where they're at as a franchise and how much of a mess it is. They don't have their quarterback of the future, I don't believe, on the roster. By the time you are at that spot, what's kind of the point of having that particular player? Wouldn't you rather have some draft picks to go find your quarterback of the future and move on from them? Now they have a brand new head coach in Todd Monken. We'll see how things play out. But the problem there has always been ownership more than it is coach. It's been ownership and a lack of quarterback, which is, of course, the recipe for complete disaster, which is what the Cleveland Browns have been. As far as the Chiefs go, I just don't think they could even take on that kind of money. We're talking about $24 million cap hit this year, 28 the next year, 31. And then if you didn't cut him, 64, he won't make it to that number, but 2029, $64 million cap hit.
$64 million.
The dead cap before that year is like 13. So they would just restructure it or move on. I just don't think that's a number in a year in which we've acknowledged all the holes that are on the roster, the money that you're still paying Chris Jones, the contract that you're about to eventually have to do for Patrick Mahomes again. Even though you can adjust the cap hit, are you going to pay Trent McDuffie? Now, if you traded for Myles Garrett, you're not extending Trent McDuffie, is my guess.
No,
but
we understand that it would come with a trade-off.
For sure.
Right?
He's a hell of a player, like just ridiculous. I would love to see him in a Chiefs uniform. I'm not trading for a player with that contract who will be 31 by the time the season starts. I just don't think that's a great idea. I think it's a bad financial decision for them.
I think if you were still, and this is the decisions they made, part of the reason they're in this financial situation is they took a real shot at the three-peat, and they got further than any team's ever gotten before. No team had even gotten to the Super Bowl in their attempt to a three-peat. The Chiefs got as far as anyone ever had, right? So if they were still, it had been back-to-back, and all of a sudden they, for whatever reason, made a trade that was letting them pick 9 and they were making all these moves, I'd actually maybe make the argument. For the chance at being immortalized in the single greatest thing any NFL team's ever done, go for it. That's how they got themselves in this position. Genuinely. Why they're in a crappy cap position is because they did everything. They sold their souls in an attempt to three-peat. And it didn't work out, and then they cratered pretty bad the year following, and now they're going to have to, see how quickly they can build back up. I still think there's a chance they could be a Super Bowl contending team this year. I also think that part of it is if they're the 5th seed in the playoffs, I also think they can still go to the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes exists. So even if it's not the dominant form of the Chiefs we're used to, that they could still make that happen, which is why I'm just not willing to make that move yet. This is a big draft year, in my opinion. I'd actually be more interested in trading players or trading down and setting yourself up for the next 10 years and not what can I do with Myles Garrett for the next 2. Because admittedly, it would be fun. It'd be a lot of fun and solve their single biggest problem. I think you can make an argument they'd be the best defense in football. With
No,
Myles Garrett and Chris Jones?
I don't think I do not think they just automatically vault to that.
Isn't that pretty much what all teams do? Just build two elite pass rushers?
They need to get much better on the defensive line, and yes, the top defenses get after the quarterback. That part is true. But if we watch Seattle, we watch Houston, we watch Denver. I do not think the Chiefs just would immediately become they would become they would definitely become a top 5 defense in football. My thing is also in this hypothetical trade that if you acquired Myles Garrett in this world, you're probably not keeping Chris Jones or you're not keeping Trent McDuffie. So that also hurts the case for them being the best.
Yeah, and if you're not keeping either of them, well, then you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's just not worth it. And so, like, I'm just curious because, and let's say it's a drop down from that, because Mike Dana's owed $11 million, and Chris Jones is getting up there. Like, I understand we can just hope that Bailey or Bain are there at 9, and that is certainly one of the options to try to fix the defensive line. But should they be considering one of these more powerful moves for these teams that have edge rushers that could come around? Because edge rushers do get traded sometimes. We don't need to talk about them like quarterbacks who very, very rarely get moved at the height of their powers. Defensive linemen, even when they're great, get moved sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Micah Parsons is a unique thing. Jerry Jones,
he's so young. That's a rarity.
That's not normal, and that's still. I understand that he got hurt in Green Bay, and so they didn't get to utilize him in the playoffs and all that. That trade still, to me, is one I would never have made if I was Dallas. But
no, me either.
We'll see how Micah Parsons bounces back from the serious knee injury that he had.
Yeah, I think that when you look at it and consider it, it's very difficult to understand why you would want to make that move. But some of this gold is probably, for you, this is an easier decision because you're like, they need a year anyway. They need a year to get back, get the cap right. And if that's the case, I will say, they need everybody's number. Like in a lot of ways, it's like, you don't need a finagle, push down the road. I know they have to a point to just get under the cap.
You saw on Friday.
Do that as little as possible.
I mean, you saw on Friday the cap. Now, this impacts, it's one thing to say, wow, the cap keeps going up. Sure, you can pay for more players. Well, everybody can pay for more, so the salaries go up. But you saw the report over the weekend where, once again, the great spot for all these teams that continue to choose to kick the can down the road a little bit is that the salary cap is going to continue to go up. The NFL informed teams on Friday that they're projecting at least the range of the cap, Cody, to be $301.2 million, potentially as high as $305.7 per club. And if you're wondering like how big of a jump that is, it was $279.2 million this year. And just in 2022, it was $208. So between 2022 and now 2026, the salary cap is going to go up, projected, $100 million per team. Great for players, also great for those GMs that are trying to navigate maybe even some bad financial decisions. They're kind of getting a get-out-of-jail-free card a little bit. This is why, yes, the cap is real, as Mike Giannetti said last week from Spotrac. But if it's going up $20 million a year, roughly, then you can, to this point, still outrun some of your problems. And this is why the league wants to add an 18th game. This is why the league wants to have every team playing 2 international games, because that's where they're going to continue to get more additional revenue. And that's why in 4 years from now, is the cap going to be $400 million? My guess is yes. Yeah, that's the way it's trending.
Honestly, the way that it's trending right now, I'm not sure why these teams don't front load, especially the teams with cap space. If you're the Patriots, pay Drake May now and pay him $80 million next year. Front load the. Why is no team? Am I crazy for this? You guys can tell me. Maybe you guys are better at business than me. Text line 913-586-7965. If you're going to pay Drake May a contract extension, why not, for those 2 years of the rookie deal he's going to get after this one? What if those were on the back end? Like, front load it. Pay him. Or is it because at some point he's going to be like, well, I made 80 that 1 year, and I don't like that it looks on paper that I'm making 10. Like, if the cap is going to skyrocket and you can afford it now, afford it. Like, in so many ways, I don't understand why these teams don't try to take advantage of. But it is good news for the Chiefs, in fairness, because that is an additional $6 to $10 million probably in cap relief that they were not expected to get. So that is obviously huge information for them that they get to manipulate it in that way. I'm just curious if you guys are willing to make trades. That's all. I always like to do hypothetical offseason trades, at least reasonable ones. Unlike you and I joking on Friday about getting Justin Jefferson, which I would do almost anything for.
Absolutely.
I just know that that's not realistic. I wish. Someone says, you guys are bearing the lead. Mike Dana's getting paid $11 million? I think that's his number. Let me look up the Chiefs cap.
Oh, I thought you knew it. I thought when you said it,
I think that. Well, I did look it up.
Yeah, it is 11.1.
Okay, I was like, I looked it up not that long ago, and then
if they cut him, it's 2.1 dead cap.
So I still got to eat 2.1 dead. So I get $9 million in relief. Yeah, he has an $11.1 million cap hit this year. I mean, look, I don't know what to tell you.
He's definitely a cut candidate.
If you want to get, and maybe we can get into this more later in the week. If you want to get depressed, look at the top 10 players for this team and understand part of the reason they're in trouble. The top 15 players include Butker, Tranquil, Dana. I mean, players we don't even know are going to be on the team. Karloftis, Bolton, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, interior offensive linemen.
That's how they have chosen to build out their roster. That was the whole.
We talked about it at the time.
That was the whole debate. And they had success, and they've had success. But building is it the way you would want to build the roster out in terms of paying at non-premium positions? That's the path that they have chosen, and it's led to an immense amount of success. We'll see if they try to reinvent themselves a bit here and start going a different direction. This is why I still think, without knowing how the offseason is going to go, 2026, I think it might still be kind of an adjustment, retooling type of year, pushing for a playoff spot, but it might be 2027 before you feel like they're back to being the best team in the AFC or the second best team in the AFC. We'll see how that plays out. Coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll discuss UMKC hiring Mark Turgeon as their next men's basketball coach. He will also join us at 11 o'clock here on Cody and Gold. But on Friday night, news started to trickle out a little bit, and it's why he was in Kansas City for Royals rally on Saturday. Vinny Pasquantino gets a 2-year contract done with the Royals, so they avoid having to go to that awkward hearing that nobody wants to go to. Remember, he was at 4.5 filing. They were at 4. That doesn't mean that he initially wanted 4.5, but that was the filing number. So they reportedly agreed to a 2-year deal, $11 million with incentives, could be as much as 16. We don't know what the specifics are.
Some of it, I think, is like the normal stuff, like first and second team all MLB,
RBI, maybe kind of stuff.
All-star, RBI, some of the normal incentives.
So, one, good for Vinny. You get some security. I know it's not the deal ultimately, Cody, that any player would want. They want the long-term. They want the 4 or 5 year deal for, $80 million or whatever it may be. This avoids the awkwardness. This avoids any tension heading into the season. And yeah, he gets a little bit of security knowing that the filing number was 4.5 for him. He's getting $5.5 million a year the next 2 years, at least, if not more, because of the incentives.
So first off, good for the Royals for taking care of what I think is their biggest clubhouse leader. Like, Bobby's their best player, Vinny's their best leader. And so when I look at that, it's like, do you really want to go to war? Do you want to fight over that? Over $500,000? And look, by the way, the first year number is expected to be 4.2. They settled right in the middle of the two numbers and then just took a guess or a stab at what they thought year 2 might look like for them. This was, to me, an easy deal to do. He didn't get an extension. I know they call it that, but we know how this works. Because under arbitration, essentially, they can just let him go at any point. They can just non-tender him. That's why they call these things extensions. And so they were never going to do that. He's too valuable a player offensively for them. And so, why do that for a guy who you expect to be here for a few years? Look, with Chris Bubich, I'm not saying it's great for him either that he has to go through that meeting hypothetically in a couple weeks. But for him, a guy who you are not sure, and probably are kind of sure, will not be on your roster at the end of next year. Okay, maybe you take the risk of going through the meeting. Save yourself a few bucks if you really want. But for a guy like Vinny, who you plan on being your starting first baseman for a couple of years, why go through this trouble? Now, I'd say, just like anything else, more money you make, more people expect you to perform, and the stuff that kind of comes with that. So that's just part of the deal. But yeah, I'm happy for Vinny.
He was, of course, at Royals rally. Vern was out there broadcasting. I know Dusty was out there covering it a little bit as well. This is what Vinny had to say about, getting off to a better start. It was a rough April, and they still ended up having a great season, but he acknowledged he needs a better start to this year.
I'm going to try something different this year, and that's I'm going to Arizona tonight. So I'll be there, 2 weeks before report to just try to get outside, figure out, because I've always been a slow starter. I don't know why. I would love to know why. So I'm going to try to, it's something I need to talk to Q about, JJ about, I want to try to get as many at-bats as I can, see as many pitches as possible, even if it's in live off of our own guys, not swinging, just trying to see pitches. My swing is very timing dependent, as most people's is. But because of the way that I move, like I need to make sure my timing is locked in from the get-go. And it seems like as my career has gone, the later in the season, the better it gets. But how can I move that forward and just try to be more of a consistent player throughout the year? I do think I am a pretty consistent player, but sometimes it takes me a little bit to get going. And that's something I got to figure out for this. Yeah, you look at it one way and you say, man, if I could have just been incrementally better in April, maybe we win a few more games and then maybe we're at 87 wins instead of 83 wins, whatever we were at. That could be the difference between making the playoffs or not. So I kind of talk about the mental game, what we were just talking about. If I can find a way to be better, just a little bit better, it's not going crazy, but just try not to be awful. And that is where I do think the clubhouse stuff helps too, is when you try to focus on other guys a little bit, you take a little bit of the pressure away from yourself, and then it becomes more of that team game, and then everybody succeeds that way.
I mean, I think he took accountability before. He's talking
what
about
he said applies to the entire team, I would argue,
yeah.
too. Like, yes,
Not just him. Can everyone be a little better in April?
He's a huge part of the equation for obvious reasons, and a better April from Vinny Pasquantino likely leads to a better April for the 2026 Kansas City Royals. But this is a team for years we've talked about. Just Aprils are killer for them.
Yes, it's buried them for generations, our entire lives. I do want to say publicly, Vinny was a man of his word. So as you know on this show, I had long since asked for Vinny to tell us about any potential. I said, hey, man, I want you to tell me if you sign a contract extension. Will you tell us first and let us have the news? And he said he wouldn't let us break the news, but he would tell us if he got a contract extension first, though we couldn't tell anybody. So, like, essentially the information was only just for you to know. He was a man of his word. Before the contract became public I think the Royals announced it on Friday, made it official.
Yeah, Friday evening.
Friday evening. The day before, had sent a text informing of the deal being completed. So he's a man of his word. Now, he did say you can't tell anybody. So, like, there was still no purpose other than just to know. But you know what? I like to know that Vinny's an honorable man. Plus, we have to admit bias on this show anyway when it comes to stuff like that, because we like having Vinny on as our NFL insider.
We do. We certainly do. And maybe we have him on later this week. We'll see. As you heard him, though, he's already out in Arizona trying to get a head start on things. He's got the WBC coming up as well. It's going to impact spring training for all these clubs and for players. I'll say this, as far as the 2-year contract, I do think, Cody, the next year and a half, let's call it, what not only he does, but what Jack Caglione does will have huge bearing on whether or not he ever does get the true long-term contract here. Because if Jack Caglione, hits well, gets it figured out, let's say he, A, doesn't figure it out from a fielding perspective in right field, or B, he gets the bat going, fine, he's okay, he's average fielder in right field, but then however else the organization goes with other development the next year and a half, is Jack Caglione still the long-term first baseman? And so does that impact? I mean, Vinny has even talked publicly, like, it's kind of weird, I'm training my replacement. He's kind of joked at times or whatever. Like, that part will be interesting and determine whether or not this is the last extension he gets with Kansas City, this 2-year contract, if you will. I guess it's not, like you said, not really an extension. It's just a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Or whether or not we're sitting here 2 years from now and he's signing a 4-year deal or something like that. Jack Caglione, I do think, has huge bearing on that happening.
I do too. But also, like, no offense, now he has an entire, like, if maybe playing right field last year impacted his offense, okay. But now he's had an entire offseason to train. He'll have an entire spring training. Not an entire spring training, it'll be the WBC. But he'll have time to work on those positions. I don't think that gets to be used as a crutch like like it was a little bit at times before. But at least we'll get some sense of where it's at.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll talk about KU basketball, their big win against BYU, and then yet again, we have this whole Darren Peterson cramping issue coming back up, so that's something we'll address here in 10 minutes. But I know you were excited, and I think people were surprised, to say the least, with the news.
I was disappointed first, but then excited after. Yeah.
Yes, and you applied, but UMKC going out and hiring Mark Turgeon. That's a name, huh? Mark Turgeon to be the next men's basketball coach. He doesn't officially take over, I guess, until March, right? Marvin Menzies finishing out this 2025/2026 season. But Mark Turgeon last coached at Maryland in 2021. I know anybody that's spent any time around college basketball or certainly is from this area knows the name Mark Turgeon, the success he had at Wichita State. He had, of course, a Sweet 16 appearance or two there at Maryland, his ties to Kansas. He's a KU grad, all of that. And it turns out, I guess he still lives in the Kansas City area as well. He's a Chiefs season ticket holder. So in terms of getting somebody, number one, that understands this city, understands this part of the country, Midwest guy, all of that, you get that in Mark Turgeon. And name-wise, we were throwing out, like, who do you get to get a job like this? Let's be honest. It has been a really, really tough program to manage over the years, historically. And you get someone that instantly brings credibility to your program. We'll see long-term what that looks like and if there's the success. But I don't know if you could have really done any better, Cody, considering where you're at as a program. We know they don't have an arena. I know Dr. Martin, the AD, was on with Fesco and Dusty this morning and acknowledged that they might be getting closer to going back to municipal auditorium.
And mentioned that I think that they still seek an arena in this case. Look, other than my profound disappointment that I wasn't personally chosen to be the new head coach of UMKC basketball, which clearly I applied for and would have liked the job, Turgeon's the second best hire they could make, you know, outside of myself, in the sense that they're never going to get a coach with upward momentum to be a head coach who's already at the assistant level, at the D1 level. As in, like, if you're the hot assistant coach at LSU and people think you're getting ready to get a gig, they're not taking the UMKC gig, because it is for a long time, and whether they want to admit this or not, it has been the death nail of your coaching career. Like, that's it. You can either go back and be an assistant with someone else, or in some cases, it has ended careers. And so I was surprised Mark Turgeon, who will join the show at 11, was willing to take it, to be honest. I'm surprised a coach who is, coached in the NCAA tournament a bunch and led multiple Division I programs and a Power 5 program at the time. I'm surprised that he was willing to take that job. So, am I going to complain that Mark Turgeon took it? Hell no. And he has Kansas City ties? I fear the 5 years out of coaching thing. And, when Weiss came back and it was just to get a check. But Mark, I got to be honest. I don't think you come back to UMKC just to take a check. I think you actually have to want, I'm dead serious. I think you have to want to coach. If you're Mark Turgeon, the amount you've coaching and coming back and taking.
Want to coach and think that you have the ability. I don't know, in year 1, year 2, whatever, how long it takes, but you think you have the ability, like you can win. You can find a way to win, and that's something that they're going to, of course, have to prove to people. But I will say the name initially. If we discuss interest, whether you're talking about attendance, whether you're talking about in this day and age of NIL, and frankly getting money behind your program and all that, that's a name that would help. I'm not saying it's just going to all snap your fingers and now overnight they're just going to have all this money and resources by any means. But if there was someone that could sell it a little bit, Mark Turgeon, I think, is a name that does that. He's going to join us coming up at 11 o'clock. Now, Dr. Martin, the AD, was on with Fesco and Dusty, and here was his answer to hiring Mark Turgeon as the head coach.
I knew in this search it had to be a good geographic fit, someone who understands not only Kansas City, but understands the Midwest, had a sense of urgency for what we wanted to do, and I have a lot of lofty goals and ambitions. I wanted a top 25 program. And in talking to several coaches, Coach Turgeon just stood out. I mean, he's a proven winner everywhere he's gone, but especially what he did at Wichita State, putting them on the map. And a lot of people in this region, they remember that. And I feel like this is about his legacy. This is a place where he's comfortable. I feel he feels like he's supported by myself and the leadership with Chancellor Agarwal, and the timing is right.
I'll tell you, I'm way more likely to go to a game next year now.
Go watch
We've been talking
Coach T.
We've been talking for years about, as a show, doing a show thing there.
Next year it was so bad. It was just like
we were like this would not have been a good year to do that. Next year, absolutely. There's some momentum there. I think we should absolutely go out there as a show, something like that.
They're usually pouring on some runny,
this might surprise you. Look, I'm a KU guy. Mark Turgeon's a KU guy.
Yeah.
My dad went to UMKC. My twin sister went to UMKC.
It's the perfect hire to get you on board.
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it. We got to go there next year.
Mark Turgeon. That was not the name I was expecting when that got released. When people started sending it to me, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Mark Turgeon took the job? Like, That's a real
And I believe
coach.
his son is going to join him. His son, I want to say at last check, we can ask Mark Turgeon when he joins us. I think he's been an assistant at Eastern Washington here.
Yeah.
Recently, he was a grad assistant with Tad Boyle at Colorado. So that's the KU connection there as well. So that's probably an opportunity that's probably intriguing to him to have his son on his staff on a
gives him an
D1
opportunity
staff
to do a big job. Yeah.
So we'll discuss this more coming up at 11
I saw there's
o'clock.
going to be more dedication to the NIL than there ever has been at the
gonna have to
university,
be.
too. Obviously, hiring a guy like that, there's got to be some promises.
How can we help? That's all I got to ask. What do I need to do? I can't coach the team now, so now I'm left with NIL.
Give him your money, evidently.
Yeah, Cody.
I'm still not allowed to donate to the NIL fund.
Why don't you commit? Yeah, why don't you commit?
As a teacher, I'm not allowed to donate to the NIL fund.
Why don't you commit your
Why not,
salary
though?
as an
my
adjunct
salary.
professor?
That was just written in the rules.
As an adjunct professor at UMKC, you should commit your salary for the next two semesters.
That actually is the way you do it.
Just jumpstart it, Just say you don't have to pay me. Just give it right back. Give it right back to
you
the
can
school.
get your name on
Right
like you can get like a certificate or something
I
like
just
that
want my
too.
name on my classroom. Just the one classroom I teach in. Just,
Oh, man.
just the one room. Not even like a building, Drew. Just the room.
All right, up next, let's talk about KU. The big showdown on Saturday. They get the win against BYU in impressive fashion, to say the least. Darren Peterson was sensational to start. Then the cramping stuff started back up. They're in action again tonight. We'll discuss KU plus what John Sherman had to say at Royals Rally on the stadium front next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Just last week, we were out at Centric for their KC Career Tech Summit. We met a couple listeners out there. It was so great to talk to you guys, and they had a whole panel. I thought that was the most beneficial part, learning truly the different paths that everybody take. We discussed delivery drivers. There was someone there on the panel that was a Marco's Pizza delivery driver, and now he's been in IT, I think, for almost a decade at this point in time, doing an amazing job in the IT field, and it all started over at Centric.
It can start now. The classes, they have a constant cycle going in there. Obviously, you can tour the building yourself if you were unable to make it. Gold, I was at my grandpa's 96th birthday party. My nephew, who went to Centric's like, man, can't believe Russ is still there. That was his exact response to me as we were talking about it, because he was looking for that new career. And that's why we keep telling you about Centric. Maybe you're just tired of working in the cold or whatever it is. Find out what your future could be.
Yeah, talk to Rush. You just go to centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
It's the last call for football, and FanDuel is giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today's 30% profit boost is a passing yards over-under and alternate passing yards. So if you think it's a defense-first type of Super Bowl, and maybe Sam Darnold is going to go under, or Drake May, who has not had a good postseason, is going to go under, today is your day. All you have to do is opt in each day and place an eligible bet to use on that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in early lines, riding your favorite props, or taking one last big swing before the final whistle, FanDuel is giving everyone something to cheer for during football's final week. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Super Bowl 60 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Lexi, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where we're all about you. Your style, your budget, your dream engagement ring. We'll take total care of you. First, come browse all the beautiful settings in our cases. Take your time and try on as many as you want. You'll know when you put your ring on. Your heart will skip a beat. Now, onto your center stone. We can look at different diamond shapes and sizes until we find the perfect match. Come visit us in store, because a friend wants you to get exactly what you want. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to rexbuyskc.com. That's rexbuyskc.com, and I look forward to working with you.
If the high cost of living is weighing you down, lighten your load at Hy-Vee. Save big at the pump with red-hot fuel saver deals this week. Stock up on groceries and stack up the savings when you scan your Hy-Vee Perks card at checkout. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up might even be free. Don't have a Perks card yet? Just download the app or go to Hy-Vee.com/perks and start saving today. Don't miss the red-hot fuel saver deals this week only at Hy-Vee.
The big game's here, and you're going to have a watch party. It may not be super for all of us Chiefs fans here in Kansas City, but still, Hy-Vee can help you make it super. Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for all of your big game watch party needs. You can get fresh dips. They've got all the chips, the take and bake pizzas, a great selection of wings, and my favorite is the bakery. I love their football-themed cookies, and they've got great sheet cakes and cupcakes as well. Mix and match in the wine and spirits department and save 10% when you mix or match 6 or more bottles. Only at Hy-Vee.
Hola, amigos! BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, covers the biggest sports stories nationwide, live and interactive. From the build-up to the big game in Santa Clara to the road to March in college hoops. As the night's games are getting underway, we're following along for the stories that matter. Tap in. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all, because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep. Now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
All right, just getting started here on a Monday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Jay Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965. Chance to interact with us. Always keeping an eye on that throughout the show. I do want to pivot to KU basketball for a little bit before we get into some comments from John Sherman at Royals Rally, where he was asked, of course, about downtown baseball, this ownership group, and making sure they stay in Kansas City. We'll do that momentarily. But we all know on Friday we were discussing what was shaping up, and while the individual performances maybe did not live up to it, the showdown between BYU and Kansas and the two top picks most likely in the NBA draft, I tend to think it'll be Darren Peterson as the number 1 overall pick. But AJ DeBonsa is incredible as well. It took him a while to warm up. He
didn't make a shot for like 9 or 10 minutes
in the first half. Kansas did a nice job defensively. They ended up winning 90-82. Remember, it was a 22-point lead, I think, at one point. Got a little interesting late. Darren Peterson played 20 minutes, 18 in the first half, 2 in the second half. The 18 minutes in the first half led to 18 points. He was sensational, including a poster-rising dunk on a BYU player. While he should have got fouled, too. He got a hand in the face. He was everything you would want to see and why he probably is going to be the number 1 overall pick. But then, once again, the story out of the game, unfortunately, becomes how little he played in the second half. 2 minutes, had the wraps around the thighs or whatever.
Normal.
Cramping again. We've seen this happen 10 different times or so here in the season, and we'll see about availability and everything tonight. They play Texas Tech on the road.
He's not on the injury report at all whatsoever for this game tonight. So
right.
he's playing, as far as I know.
It's one of those where
I think he sat because they were up 20 and it was half.
It's one of those where it'll drive you crazy all year if you're a Kansas fan. I've now come to grips with the point, like, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy when he's on the court, because when he's on the court, it's unreal. The best example somebody gave over the weekend I saw on Twitter, and it's like if you were excited, you went, pick your nice steakhouse in town, whether it's wherever, right? 801, 1587, whatever. And you go and he has a $100 steak. You got that filet, and you take 3 bites, and they say, "Oh, that's all you get," and they just take it away.
Hope you enjoyed the bites.
Hey, that's a great example I saw from somebody, and it's such a tease. It is such a tease, and I do think the dynamics here are so unique. You've probably seen the video circulating where Sean Lester, who is an associate AD, he's been, 25 years maybe with Kansas. When I was in college, he was an associate AD. He's been there for a very long time, and he appeared to give an eyewitness accounts and some video. The agent of Darren Peterson was in attendance, as were 30 some odd other scouts and team presidents from the NBA. And they had some sort of conversation. Then Sean Lester, as second half warmups are happening, says something. We don't know what it was, but says something to Darren Peterson.
Said, "See you at dinner tonight."
Yeah, have no idea, right? It's all
it's
speculation.
Peterson doesn't play in the second half.
It's speculation, but it's a little odd considering the chain of events and everything that transpired, man.
It is impossible, knowing the size lead they had and that he'd already put on the show, to not at least consider the fact that they got up so big that they told him to sit Darren Peterson. Because up to this point, he'd been playing back in the 30s, Gold. That had gone away. And then all of a sudden, they're boat racing a team, and he's already put on the show, and now he's not going to play in the second half, and he plays tonight? Let's say he plays tonight. Well, then, why was he sitting in the second half of that game? And I guess the question is still, like, can he do what he did in that late come-from-behind victory against TCU? And had it really come to shove, and they needed a last-second shot, he's probably coming off the bench again. We're right back to the same thing. And so you can be frustrated by it. I will say, he's going to make it hard to be overly frustrated by him, because he might be the most gifted player Kansas has ever had.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
And I don't say that lightly, because this is Kansas basketball, and they have had a lot of tremendously talented players. This is one of the most effortless college basketball players I have seen in a very long time. It doesn't seem like it's even hard for him. It looks like when LeBron was playing high school ball and he can just score when he wants. It doesn't look like it's a challenge in any way.
Yeah, he's smooth and effortless when he's attacking. It's sensational. And the first half was what was he, 6 for 6 right out of the gate? And defensively too. Remember, he had 3 steals in the game. It was awesome to see. But I do think, and this will now be an interesting case study, I guess, moving forward, because you watch this and you say, hey, is this what's going to happen with every top recruit now? But I push back on that narrative a little bit, because it's not happening right now with Cam Boozer. It's not happening right now with AJ DeBonsa.
That's why I think it's
like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as people are saying, well, see, Darren Peterson is doing what every top guy is going to do. I'm watching 2 other top guys that might be the number 2, number 3 pick, if not number 1 pick, in Boozer and DeBonsa, and they're not doing it.
I think that's why when you hear Bill Self say post game, it seems like this flare up is not related to what it was previously. This is a conditioning, lack of playing on a regular basis sort of cramping.
Do you think then, and
it makes sense
that, hey, he rolls the ankle really bad a week ago. He doesn't play against Kansas State, so therefore he's not.
And he's been inconsistent all season at playing.
So was it a setback because of the ankle? Not that the ankle is why he left the game. I'm saying when he left 2 games ago, the ankle, then he didn't play for a week, and then now he's back. I don't know if it's that, or if it's just it's the same story. Like, the time where we'll know, and I was texting with somebody over the weekend about this. Let's just hypothetical, it's the Sweet 16, Cody. Kansas is fortunate enough to be in the Sweet 16, and they've got a decent lead over whoever they're playing in the Sweet 16. But with 5 minutes to go, suddenly it's down to a 6-point lead. This is the Sweet 16. It is do or die. This is his last game if they lose. The season's over if they lose. At that point, is he still doing this? I think the answer is no.
If the quad flares up, then I think he's done. Like, I think it's that simple. I legitimately think, because we're not seeing it with DeBonsa or Cam Boozer or Wagler over at Illinois. I think it's the same. If it flares up and he can't go and it's cramping up on him, he's going to come out.
At this point, though, and this is, I guess, the argument I would make, if it's all for his future and all this stuff, I legitimately do not think there's anything he can do to hurt his draft stock at this point. He's already proven it.
He'll go number 1 overall.
He's going number 1
He is going to go number 1.
He will go number 1.
For all the people who said he moves like Kobe, yeah, he does. That's how he
Jay
looks.
Billis called him when
he's on the court.
Jay Billis said he scores as easily as KD did when he was in college at Texas.
And so, like, he can't do, and I've seen this be like, well, making him rest and sit time. I'm like, that's how every NBA player is handled. So, like, the NBA doesn't care that they baby him a little bit. The NBA does that with players all the time.
And we're also
there's
still
no
not,
affiliation with the NBA and college to a standpoint. The NBA is not telling them to sit here. Like the NBA.
No, but his agent, it sure seems like there's some conversations that have taken place. Absolutely.
Because I think
hard to argue.
But in the tournament, I think they'll let that go.
Yeah,
it's a couple of games.
The NBA doesn't care what you do in college. The NBA, look, if Darren Peterson was playing the entire thing 40 minutes a game, the NBA wouldn't care. I don't think the NBA does not care what Darren Peterson does it doesn't matter.
The only question would be, we'll have this discussion in March, even during the Big 12 tournament. At that point, let's say the seeding is pretty settled for where they're at. There will be, and I think we'll have it on the show, should they rest him during the Big 12 tournament so to where the quad is ready to roll come tournament time? Because he did play, as you said, 32 minutes in, 3 straight games or 2 straight games. So it's not like it's never happened. It is when it flares up and then his agent or whoever noted there's somebody having some sort of conversation. Everybody has an agreement here, and he's not going to play in those moments. So if, in fact, they're in the Big 12 tournament, and at that point, let's say KU's locked into, I have no idea, Cody, a 4 seed, 3 seed. I have no idea.
They're projected at 4 right now. So.
Let's say they're locked in and there's not much work they can do. At that point, I think there's a strong case you rest him so he has a full week and a half to get ready.
I would not do that because you know why? Here they're going to play in the first round of the tournament. It's going to flare up again. Because if you go a whole week,
we saw him play 2 or 3 straight games with it not flaring up.
I know,
so acting like it's impossible for it not to flare up is not true.
I think because we just saw it flare up again after him not playing for a whole week. You resting him, like let's say he's been playing relatively consistently, and then
so
you rest him.
He just needs to get in a flow.
Yes. I think the team needs to get in a flow. I think him, because they've looked outstanding over the period of time when he's played together because they've figured it out. You take him out and then you rest him. I think you're bringing up a more realistic chance of that quad flaring up again because the inconsistency of playing time and also just the team flow and how it goes. I think I understand why you might want to rest him or why it sounds fine, but I'll be totally honest. It makes complete sense how he could be 20 minutes into a game. They're neck and neck with a 13 seed, and that quad flares up again, and he ain't playing, and that's going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end.
I think the interaction on the bench will look a lot different than what it does right now, which is it doesn't even look like there's much of a discussion happening. I think there will be more of a discussion at that point in time. It's when it's the last game of the year, you don't have as much to lose. I understand you got to be careful with future recruits and everything. I think it's very easy in February 2nd to just downplay it and act like it doesn't really bug you at all as a head coach. I think if it's the Sweet 16 and there's 5 minutes to go in the game, I think it's a little more aggressive of like making sure everybody knows I'm asking you. The cameras are I'm asking you to go in the game, and you're not going in the game. I do push back on some people on the text line saying he's not hurt. No, I do think he actually is getting hurt.
He's hurt.
It's just in the past, players would, probably play through it, but he's not just saying, oh, I'm done playing for the afternoon. He's clearly feeling something. It is so frustrating, though, to watch. It really is.
It is. And I think Bill Self is frustrated. He's just not saying it that way. When he says, I'm not a doctor.
He can't.
He can't just be like, get your ass on the court.
He can't.
Like, it doesn't work that way. You're protecting this. And look, he is a unique case. He is also uniquely talented. And this is the other part that I guess Kansas should feel better about. If Gold, right now, I gave the opportunity to any of the teams in all of college basketball to have Darren Peterson and to deal with the stuff that he's dealing with right now. He takes himself out of games. And let's just say all the rumors are true. His agent takes him out of games. He takes himself out of games. He plays 20 minutes, sometimes 30. Every single team and all of college basketball would take on the headache. So, like, it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. Like, if every other team in the league, there's not one that would turn it down, I guess is the case.
KU in action tonight on the road in Lubbock. They are 4.5-point underdogs. Given how tired they were at the end of the BYU game, given the Darren Peterson status, I know he's not on the injury report, but why would I think he's playing 32 tonight?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't like their chances necessarily to win this evening. We'll see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk more college basketball. Mark Turgeon, the next head men's basketball coach at UMKC, will join us live right here on Cody and Gold. But let's talk some Royals. Royals rally over the weekend. Vern was broadcasting live. Dusty was out there as well. I think Kramer getting some social media content. And John Sherman, as you would expect, was asked about the viability of a downtown ballpark and the sustainability of Royals baseball in Kansas City. I think this was the most important part. And we've heard this before, but in case anybody was getting a little more nervous because of how the stadium saga has gone.
Yeah, I think, look, we're not going anywhere, and that's what we've said all along. If the team's going, someone else will have to do that. But we're looking for a public partner, right? As I said before, we're working day and night right now to find a way to make sure this team stays here for as long as any of us are going to be around.
I like hearing that, right? He did seem, and Dusty was down there and some other people were down there. He did seem pretty bullish on the, if they ever moved not here, it ain't us. Right? And I saw, I don't remember what it was, Casey, I don't remember which local news outlet had said something like, we talked to people in Salt Lake City, and they said they haven't heard from the Royals. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know if that needs to be a report. No one talked to you, but you still want a team? Yeah, I knew that. And so I still think it's fairly obvious that Kansas City, that it is the longest of long shots still, that the Royals will not be in Kansas City. What we don't know is where still, right? And the investment from the team versus this. And he tried to defend some of the normal stuff, right? You know, why are we paying for this? Why don't you just pay for it? And he's like, it's a community project. I believe in that. It's good for the community. It's going to be good for the city. You know, like the normal things you would expect. But it's also like, yeah, I don't expect this. I've never, I guess, really expected this ownership group to do that, but it's good for them to say it out loud.
He also was asked about downtown baseball because we all know the momentum seems to be trending to the Washington Square Park site. Here's their vision and if downtown is still part of it.
Yeah, I think that you have to, you know, just like in any business, right? You have to be willing to adapt and be flexible to achieve that ultimate goal that we talked about. But I think if you have your druthers, I would love to see us kind of in the heart of the city, in the cultural part of the city, where we can enhance maybe some things that are already going on and make it better. So that's probably a soft spot, but also have to be open to other ideas, right, to make sure that we accomplish that goal.
Other ideas also later on in that setting was asked about Clay County, acknowledged that they're still not completely ending that possibility.
Mentioned Kansas, mentioned Clay County, mentioned Missouri.
The Clay County part was interesting because now the tweet has since been deleted. I cannot find it anywhere, and I believe this individual did. We've had Jason Withington on the show. He is one of 7 Clay County commissioners.
Yes.
And if you guys remember, in early January, he publicly posted on Facebook that he's done negotiating, okay? And then we have last week the statement from Clay County saying, hey, the Royals missed our deadline to get something on this April ballot and how they're not going to be basically getting a bidding war. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they said. Okay.
They didn't say we're done forever. They just said we're not in a bidding war and not this April.
So John Sherman was asked about Clay County, acknowledged like, yeah, it's still in consideration. Jason Withington on Twitter quote tweeted the quote from John Sherman and essentially said, if he's that serious, then how come he was down the hall? Now, the tweet has been deleted, I guess for obvious reasons at this point. But he was basically trying to
say he's not even being a part of it.
He's not that serious because he wasn't in those meetings. Now, I don't know how the meetings are normally set up, right? Like I don't know how many of the ones with 119th and Knoll John Sherman is in.
Or different owners or like the busy people with lots of money. I don't know.
I don't know how many are more, you know, what the dynamic is of the meetings typically, but I thought that was really interesting. That tweet again has since been deleted because he's only one of 7 county commissioners in Clay County.
Look, I think it's mostly a negotiating talking point, but the fact that John Sherman is still willing publicly, he also, by the way, and we didn't play that part, he also said that they hope to have a decision on the site sooner rather than later once again. And it's like, so we got to go back into reading the tea leaves there of, do you believe it? Do you think that he's telling the truth, Gold, in the sense that he says they think that they are close to a decision now? Because you and I thought that they were close to a decision before maybe the Chiefs had made their announcement and, you know, screwed up their order a little bit, right? And kind of changed those things. The question is, do we think that they are now? Because he does seem to think that they are close on a decision. I just don't know how much longer they can wait. Legitimately and be out of the Truman Sports Complex anywhere close to the original stated timeline. How can you not have a decision here soon? Very soon. I think largely it's politicking to say Clay, Kansas, Missouri, downtown, the moon. Like,
leverage,
to just be like,
leverage.
Yeah, they're trying not to lose all leverage, and they're just saying, hey, we're not trying to make it seem like we can't be in certain locations. We could be anywhere. You don't know.
Again, the tricky
rather
part,
than commit to it.
it's one, if they ever did finally settle on location again, then depending on where it's at, and we're still talking about the timeline on a potential public vote is required. We know one would be required in Clay County, and in KC-Mo, there is still a potential that a vote would be required there. I understand we've talked a lot about the KC Port Authority thing, but as John Ketz from Fox 4 told us, there is still a signature petition that could happen that would force a vote. So if that happens, and that's something that takes some time to put together too. So I mean, even if let's say in June, let's just say we suddenly got a site, we're still a couple months away from if a vote is required happening, and then waiting for the result of that, and then you can actually start doing the environmental testing and then break ground. Like we're still even if you have a site, you're still months out.
I know. Like look for the Chiefs now. Once the ball gets rolling, things really happen. Like tomorrow, the Chiefs and Wyandotte County will do their official vote on the stadium location site. I think they're only pitching one site, so the vote is just, can we put it here?
Yeah, Olathe's vote is about, not only the site, but also about potentially using some of the local tax money.
Yeah. So theirs is a little more complicated, but you can see how quickly the wheels of motion happen versus somebody over on YouTube pointed out the correct thing. Mobius over there just said, look, I'm pretty sure that they did this exact same press conference 2 years ago to the Royals. John Sherman sat down at a Royals rally and said, here's our preferred, if we played back 2 years ago press audio like that, I don't think it'd sound way different. So I take some of it with a grain of salt, but I also just think that deadlines spur action, and we got to be getting closer and closer to this stuff, and interesting to see kind of which way it goes based off of that. It's going to be an interesting next couple of days, I think, on the Chiefs side, because there is still some approval stuff for the Olathe side and the taxes and all the stuff that has to still get approved on that end.
It's going to be, these meetings, it's usually
public gets to show up.
Yeah, those, and it's always the vocal minority too. So it's going to be
a real episode of Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
if you haven't paid attention.
We saw the meeting over with the 119th and Dulce side. We all saw how the campaign went when it was downtown. No matter where they pick, whether it's Royal Stadium or now the Chiefs, there's going to be plenty of noise tomorrow. No doubt about that. Plenty of noise around. I'm not even saying it's wrong. I'm just keep that in mind. I don't think it would be unique to what's happening there. It would happen at any of these potential sites. And
any
meetings.
city, it would all look exactly the same. And this doesn't matter whether or not someone's putting a swing set or an entire stadium. So just imagine how many more voices it is based off of that. But at least good to hear from the owner. Obviously, I haven't heard from that grouping in a while, and I'd like to start caring about the team, not the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm right at the level of I'd like to care about the team, not the building. And it feels like the building has been eating up so much of the time lately that we haven't been able to focus on that end of it.
Yeah, spring training right around the corner. First spring training game is on the 20th on a Friday afternoon. We're getting
18
close.
days away?
Yeah, Friday the 20th, I believe they take on the Rangers.
Pitchers and catchers on the 11th. I think full squad's the 16th. Although anybody who plays in the WBC, so like Vinny, has to report by at least the 12th. Report, by the way, is just we should ask if Vinny comes on the show later this week. We'll ask him about it. To my understanding, it is literally just like a text saying, "I am in Arizona." You don't have to do the official check-in until later. Just proving that you physically exist in the state is apparently enough.
Don't forget, coming up in just a couple of days, we've got our Chiefs off-season show. That is a week from tomorrow, Tuesday, February 10th. Bob, Dusty, C-Dot, Cody, and myself all in studio from 9 a.m. to 11, talking all things Chiefs off-season. Where does the rest of the coaching staff go? The draft, free agency, certainly Travis Kelce's future, all things we'll get into on the Chiefs off-season show. Up next, though, we know UMKC made headlines yesterday, a big hire for their next men's basketball coach, Mark Turgeon. He's coming back to Kansas City, getting back into coaching after a hiatus since the 2021 season at Maryland. So we'll get to know Mark a little bit more and why, in fact, UMKC is the right spot. And how did this all come together? Next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Football's biggest game is right around the corner, and you can get in on all the action with Underdog right now in Missouri. Not an underdog yet? You're in luck because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. So get that action on the big game and do it on the Missouri side. It's super easy. Just choose your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. I can just already warn you, I'm going to like JSN this weekend for sure. If you get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Plus, new promos dropping daily in the app. So if you like making entries and winning money, then Underdog is the place to be for the big game. Between drafts and ladders and streaks and so much more, all those options available to you at Underdog. So what are you waiting for? Download that app, use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 in fantasy. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Well, it's the last call for football. FanDuel is giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today is a 30% profit boost on passing yards, over, under, and alternate passing yards. So you can take the over on Drake May. Maybe you like the over for Sam Darnold. Or maybe you're not feeling so sure, but you want to take a 200-plus passing yards from either quarterback. You can do so and get that 30% boost today. All you have to do is opt in each day and place an eligible bet to use that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in some early lines, you're riding your favorite props, or taking that last big swing before the final whistle of the NFL season, FanDuel is giving everyone something extra to cheer for during football's final week. So play your game with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60 and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued non-withdrawable profit boot token. Restrictions apply, including all token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEBNOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes videos like MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, and Best Bets. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, 11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on a Monday. We will get to the trash of the day in about 20 minutes. Also, a little bit on the Royals front. I thought a really good sign from what Cole Reagans reportedly agreed to do this offseason when he could have maybe pivoted in a different direction. Yep. I thought it was a really good thing if you're a Royals fan and for the Royals heading in to opening day. So we'll get to that in just a bit. But excited to head out to the phones and welcome in the new men's basketball coach at Kansas City at UMKC, Mark Turgeon, with us now on 96.5 The Fan. Mark, great to have you on. Congratulations. Let me just start with this. Just why UMKC at this point in time?
Yeah, it's good to be on, guys. Thanks for having me. But, I wasn't looking for it. I was pretty content. I had kind of mastered retirement, to be honest with you. But my wife and I had talked about maybe moving back to the Midwest. We met at the University of Kansas. So I didn't even know the job was open. I got a phone call from them. And I was intrigued to listen to see what the commitment was going to be. But the main reason was I wanted to get back to the Midwest. I thought Brandon Martin and Chancellor Agrawal made a commitment to trying to win, which is important. So I thought the leadership was good. And then I just believe in the city. I think it's an amazing city. I'm a Chiefs season ticket holder. I know what the fan bases are like in that area and how much they care about sports. And I feel like if we can just put a good product on the court, we're going to have a great fan base. So, I'm into recruiting Missouri fans and KU fans and K-State fans, whatever it takes to get the building full, and plus the great UMKC fans too. So I'm excited. It's an opportunity to come home and try to build something special with a program that really doesn't have a lot of tradition or success in the past. So, but I do think there's a great upside to it.
Mark, I'll have to be honest with you. So as I teach at UMKC, I also went there. I also applied for the job. I did not get a call. It turns out they did not give me an opportunity. But what did you know about UMKC basketball, I guess, up to this point?
Well, I was at Wichita State for 7 years, and I think we played UMKC 3 times in those 7 years, once at Municipal. And I know about it. I've followed it. I've continued to follow it. What I do know is that any Division I basketball program with the right people, the right leadership, the right coach, you can win. So I'm hoping that's the case here. I'm planning on that being the case. Do I know every player that's played there over the last 10 years? No, absolutely not. But I've followed the program. I know where the school is. I've been on campus. I actually interviewed for the job probably 31 years ago. I think I was 28, 29 years old. I was assistant at Oregon, and I think my Hunt was the AD at the time, and they gave it to Bob Sundvold back then. So I've kind of followed the program over the last 30 years because I interviewed for it so long ago.
Since I won't be the new head coach, can Alex and I come sit in on a practice at some point, get a view of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a big shut down the practice guy, especially early in the season. Let guys come in and see the team and watch practice. But no, I heard you're a Roo and look forward to develop a relationship with you, and hopefully you guys will do a good job covering us. And hopefully we plan to put on a product that's worth covering. And I told Dr. Martin, I'm not coming there to lose. I'm not going to promise you I'm going to win next year, but I don't have time to not win. And that's the beauty of the portal, and NIL gives you a chance to turn things around pretty quickly. And that's our plan. But it starts with putting together a great staff, which I'm just starting to work on. And then, of course, recruiting the best players you can possibly recruit. And then finally putting a schedule together that's conducive to winning. So those are the 3 most important things on my list right now. I know we've created a little buzz in Kansas City, so keeping players home is going to be a big part of what we're trying to do too. I'm trying to find out who those players are and talking to the right people and do our best to keep them home.
We're talking to Mark Turgeon, new men's basketball coach at Kansas City, UMKC. You mentioned the local area. I imagine your phone is blown up. I mean, with the relationships that you have in college basketball in general, let alone in the Midwest, it's no secret. I mean, the talent pool in Kansas City, we've seen some of these teams over the last couple of years, whether you're looking at what Drake was able to do with some local connections or Loyola Chicago. I mean, that you would agree, right? There's plenty of talent here in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I heard the 27 class is really, really good, and I heard the 29 class might be the best class in the history. So it could be good timing for me coming in there. But yeah, it is important. I think there's a lot of pride in that area about basketball. We have our Chiefs and our Royals, but basketball is pretty important in the Midwest. So we want to keep these kids home. We want a following. We want people to want to come watch local kids. That doesn't mean we're going to have all local kids. We're going to get the best players we can get. But if a local kid wants to come home and he's good enough, we got to make sure that happens. And that's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to hire a staff that's connected to the area. Obviously, I know a lot of people. You're not joking. I looked at my wife last night about midnight, and I said, "What the hell was I thinking?" Over 500 or 600 texts and phone calls, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now, but I'll get it under control. I've been able to get on the phone this morning and start to get some answers and get some things. And of course, the hype will slow down here in the next 48 hours. And then I can really get to work and try to make Kansas City basketball a better program.
I know you mentioned, your staff and still trying to figure that out, but my understanding, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but is your son going to be coaching with you?
Yeah, absolutely. He was my first hire. Will's coming with me. Will was born to be a coach. I was at Wichita State. He was a young kid. I used to take him home after the games. He was still in his car seat, and he would be telling me how to coach. And I'd have to go to McDonald's and get him a Happy Meal just to get him to shut up about basketball. And, I never wanted him to be a coach. I never trained him to be a coach. But it's just in his blood, and it's what he wants to do. So he'll be a great recruiter for me. He'll sell me better than anybody. And he's a really good coach. He's got a great eye for talent. And he loves the game. He's got a great feel for the game. So he'll be with me when I come. And, we're working on the staff. I got about 20-some people on my list that I think will be great for that area. I think we need grinders. I think we need guys that are going to flat every day. They think about recruiting, and they think about making our players better. And so those are the guys I'm going to try to hire. I'm going to hire grinders, and I'm a grinder. And I didn't go from Topeka, Hayden to Maryland not being a grinder. So I think I'm good for the job. I'll grind, I'll work, I'll do whatever it takes to help us be successful.
When you look at NIL, it was really in its infancy when you were last in Maryland. It'd only been around a couple of years. And obviously Kansas City, NIL works quite a bit different than if you're over at Kansas or these others. How did Martin pitch NIL to you, budgets, or how will that work? And I guess helping keeping some of that local talent.
Well, yeah, we had some healthy conversations, and I wasn't coming unless we had a chance. And I just want to be on the same page with people in the Summit League. I don't want someone, and I've heard St. Thomas, Minnesota has a big booster that could probably write checks. I don't know if it's true or not. They got a brand new arena I heard he was a part of, beautiful arena, and they got a great coach and a nice program. So I just want to be on par with those teams. And the teams that I'm going to have to beat in recruiting. I don't know where the Missouri Valley is in that stretch because I plan to recruit against a lot of Missouri Valley teams. I hope to beat Missouri Valley teams for especially local kids. So, we'll get there. Kansas City is a wealthy town. There's a lot of people that love basketball. I know there's a lot of people excited I'm going to be the coach, and I know I'm going to have to wear a lot of hats, and one of it's going to be fundraising. Dr. Martin's good at it, but hopefully I can go in with him and close some deals and make our budget better, and to get the coaches I want, we're going to have the money to get it done. So I came pretty cheap, but I want to have a good staff around me. I want young, energetic guys that are grinders that are going to help us build this thing and do great things.
Well, Mark, my co-host is an adjunct professor at UMKC. I told him he just needs to donate his salary and just start supporting the program as an alum.
Yeah, that'd be a good start. And very unselfish of him.
Yeah, very generous. When you just
those guys. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just going back, I was just curious, just going back to what you were saying about you weren't looking for a job, they called you. Was it a hard sell? Like, or were you like, once you realized maybe you did miss it when they were talking about the coaching? Like, what did it take to be from the couch to coaching?
Well, I've missed it from day one. I've stepped out. It was whether I missed it enough to come back. And I've told thousands of people I wasn't coming back. There was really only about 2 or 3 jobs that I would take. And UMKC was one of them to get me home. But when they first called, I told my wife, I said, hey, it's back home, but it's not in a good place. And they got to show me their commitment. And through conversations with Dr. Martin, they made commitments. And those commitments are going to have to grow for us to continue to grow our program. So they made enough of a commitment to me to give us a chance to win right away. That was important. And so I just kept saying, I'm not coming there to be 10-20 next year. I can't do it. It's not my personality. I need to come there and have a fighting chance to win. I'm not promising we're going to win, but I need a chance. So, being able to hire a great staff is important. Being able to have enough NIL money to compete against North Dakota and South Dakota, and North Dakota State and South Dakota and Minnesota and Oral Roberts and Omaha was important. And I think he got us there. And things change, last year's budget's not this year's budget, and NIL, it changes pretty quickly. But, we're not trying to beat Kansas. We're not trying to beat Missouri. They got whatever money they got. They're going to be able to buy players if they want. But we want to be successful in the Summit. We want to be successful against teams like us, and we want to be the best of the teams that are like us. And I don't know why we can't do that with the right staff and the right budget and fixing the schedule to where we can be successful. And every game will be hard for us, but that, all those things are very important for us to get successful. But the bottom line, guys, for this thing to really turn, Kansas City's got to get behind us. The people in Kansas City, they got to buy, if we're going to move to municipal next year and it's a 10,000 seat arena, we got to sell tickets, and people got to jump on board. If I could do my job and I put a good product on the court, the final piece is going to be the community and their support towards us emotionally, physically, and financially. Because that's really what it's come down to in college basketball and college sports now. And if we get that, we did it at Wichita. I saw it at Wichita. We can do it with Kansas City basketball.
Before we let you go, you mentioned Municipal Auditorium. I know Dr. Martin was on with our morning show earlier today saying, there's some momentum maybe to potentially go back there. Do you think, without, confirming 100% what your plan is as a university, but do you believe that's where you guys need to be playing here sooner rather than later?
Well, I think for a lot of reasons. One, it's a big time arena with a ton of history. I've talked to Kathy Nelson at the Sports Commission and about some things that need to get done there. And if you're getting 8,000 people instead of 2,000 people, it's much better for your budget. So I think Dr. Martin would like to be there. I'm going to come take a look. There's some things that are going to have to be done. Financially, it's going to be a burden on us, and we're going to need some help from the city there. but we're definitely looking at it, and we're looking at it seriously. And I think it would help recruiting if we could, get that building fixed up a little bit. And I think it'd be, be able to take recruits into that building and say, this is where we play, and we're getting 8,000 a night. In the big games, we're getting 10,000. I think that's where the city's got to get behind this. But that'll be an administration decision in the end. I can influence it, but it comes down to dollars in the end. And if we can make it work, we're going to try to make it work.
Well, you'll be a lot closer to going to some Chiefs games. It'll make it a lot easier for you and your season tickets,
Yeah, I'm so excited to be back home. And, and then I love the Royals. And I think the Royals are going to be really good this year. I love the pitching staff. And we had some guys some young guys I think will make big steps for us this year. And I love the ownership and what they're doing. I mean, they're just really trying to win, which is great. And so I plan on being at the K a few times this summer, watching some games. And I'm super excited for Kansas City sports. And a little trivia, I was at the 1986, 85, was it 85?
85, yeah.
And I was at the 2015 game clincher in New York with my two boys when they beat the Mets. So I might be the only Royals fan that was at both.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Clinching game. Yeah. So, I got the tickets up in my office here, and they'll come with me to Kansas City basketball. But so I'm a lifelong sports fan there, and I'm super excited to get home. I love Maryland. We've been here 15 years. Two of my kids, that's really all they know. They're East Coast kids, but I'm excited to get home and for this, probably the last chapter of my career and being able to get home and eventually retire in Kansas City, Midwest area is important to me. So I'm excited about that.
Well, welcome back home. Congratulations. And I'm sure we'll be in touch here in the months ahead, and appreciate the time.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
There you go.
Take care.
That's Mark Turgeon, the newest men's basketball coach at Kansas City for the Roos, man. You can sense the excitement there, and hopefully moving forward. I mean, I think, going back to Municipal Auditorium, if in fact that they can make that work, I do think that is a huge benefit if there's the excitement behind the program.
If you can get people to go to the game, it is. Yeah. Obviously, the problem is when they first went to Muni, it was premature, and the program wasn't where it needed to be. And look, I kind of like that Mark did not soften where the program was. Or has been, or is, right? It's been in dire shape for a while, and it's maintained at that level. He's like, but it sounds like for him, this ends up getting lucky for UMKC that Mark Turgeon wanted to come back to Kansas City or come back to the area because now they get a chance to get, I think, a better coach than probably they could normally hire, and a more accomplished coach than they can normally hire, and then hopefully try to build a program finally.
I mean, it sounds like, and to what extent we're going to find out over time, but it sounds like there is more of a commitment, maybe than there has been.
Yeah.
And that's going to require a lot of things working together for it to work and lead to wins and everything like that. But yeah, if you can get, like we've said this for, I think, for years. Obviously, the history, Cody, and not being a team that's ever made the NCAA tournament, all that. But if this team was competitive in the regular season, I do think there would be some interest in the city, in Kansas City, which is a great sports town, and people that have maybe never gone to a Roos game. If you told them, Mark Turgeon, that's a name that I know. Oh, and the product's not that bad. They're competitive in their league.
There's a couple of local kids I remember watching at whatever school.
Yeah, he was one of the kids that was playing, in KC Mo or was playing in Blue Valley or wherever, right?
Matter.
So we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's certainly the most buzz they've had around that program in a while.
I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see. I'm fascinated, obviously.
So are you committing to not getting
forego my salary?
Forego your salary to start helping the basketball program?
I got to look up the rules again. I don't remember how the rules work. I still think like the last time I looked it up, I technically wasn't allowed to be someone for NIL as a professor due to it's probably like more of an academic thing than a like. If I was giving to NIL, am I just going to let, athletes come into my class and get auto A's or whatever? I'm supposed to academic integrity, Gold.
That's right.
I'm a professor at the school,
That's right.
Either way, we'll see how this goes. Look, I understand the risk of it. The same as every time an older coach ends up at a university that doesn't work, and then you ask whether or not, are they really wanting to do this job? Do they understand what this job is again? Or does it go the way of all the names we mentioned, Weiss earlier in the show, or Les Miles? Because Kansas is actually not a great comp because UMKC is even below that. But Kansas football was at a point where you just couldn't build
I think basketball's a little different, though, because of
it's easier to build up.
Because of the portal and the roster size you're talking about there instead of course, a huge roster in college football. I think the ability they're not suddenly going to get every, local kid that, was deciding to go play in the Missouri Valley automatically or forego going to D2 Northwest Missouri State. But can you get some of those kids? We know that the area has talent.
Yes.
We've seen the history of that, recent history, honestly.
And UMKC is terrible at getting it. We know two things.
How do you turn the tide on that? And that'll be a huge part of the equation moving forward. So appreciate Mark Turgeon calling in. And if you missed earlier this morning, the athletic director, Dr. Martin, was on with Fesco and Dusty discussing more on the municipal auditorium side of things and just the momentum, hopefully, that they can build as a program. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
This involves an airplane. We usually have airplanes involved in trash of the day. I don't know why. There's always weird stuff nowadays happens. This one is very weird. There's also video to back it up if you want to look for it.
Okay.
There was a Moroccan national that was dancing on top of a passenger plane and taunting workers on the ground. He climbed on the roof of a passenger plane at a Spanish airport, taunting workers there, delayed it for at least 10 minutes or so. He managed to slip through the airport, then he climbs on top of this airline. It's like an A320 jet. You can see there's a screenshot of it if you look for the article. And he's just kind of chilling, casually walking back and forth atop this airplane. He sprinted twice along the plane's roof, toying with the staff below, just taunting them the whole time. He was on the top of the plane for about 10 minutes, and it ended up delaying travelers that were headed to Amsterdam overall by 2.5 hours. So it took 10 minutes for him to get off the plane, but they had to make sure everything was all right. And he was convinced by 3, I guess they call them civil guard officials, to come down.
Is this one of those, like, he had a couple drinks and an Ambien?
Says he was sent to a psychiatric unit at a hospital, so.
I mean, yeah. I feel like this is always like, sometimes I feel like the crazy airline stories are, guy had a whiskey Coke, took an Ambien, made him crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This just sounds like maybe the guy lost it either way. I mean, if you look at the photo, it's crazy. Do you know how weird it would be to be like, hey man, my flight was delayed a couple of hours. Why? There's just some dude dancing on top of the plane. And in fairness, I want them to double check he didn't scuff anything that can't be scuffed before we hit the air and there's nothing left. Yeah, I mean,
I did something on the plane, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how this works. I don't know what acceptable wear is depending on the part of the plane. I'd sure like him to double check to be sure.
Someone says they would have got him off the plane in a hurry. Just go ahead and start taxing that bad boy and let's go. Let's see.
Put some mattresses down and just let him fall.
Hey, you sure you want to do this? We're about to take off.
We're leaving one way or the other, pal. So you can either be on this plane or you can be on top of it. Your call.
Jeez.
That's how to get someone killed. I mean,
how upset would you be? Like, we've all had a delayed flight for random mechanical thing or de-icing, whatever. If I told you, Cody, your trip was delayed 2.5 hours because some idiot climbed on top of the plane.
I'm so mad. The other part is, look, I don't know what airport. I've never tried to break airport security, so I don't know what it's like. How the hell did this guy get out on the tarmac?
That's a great question.
That feels like that'd be like gold. If I made you go up to KCI today and I said, hey man, figure out a way to get on the tarmac, I think you're getting arrested before you ever put a boot to the ground.
Right.
Like I don't. How the hell before you get on top of a plane? How do you get on top of a plane? There's got to be like a ladder and a staircase and a bunch of other climbing stuff. He's not the free solo guy. How the hell did he get on top? I got a lot of questions about all of it. Feels like a lack of security is maybe number one on my question list.
That is the trash of the day. I'm smiling. I'm laughing because I got a text from somebody over at UMKC said they're in compliance now, figuring out how they can get you to donate your salary, Cody.
Oh, wow. So they're just trying to figure out a way for me to cough up my dough?
Yeah. You know,
donate,
I'm sure your wife won't mind at all. Yeah.
What will one adjunct professor's salary?
Who knows, man? I don't know.
For 3 to 4 courses a year, what can that buy in the talent pool?
I'm not in that loop. I don't know what that gets you. Honestly, I'm not sure, man. Maybe it's resources.
Show me the player buys, and we might talk.
I don't know.
Make it like a Sky Miles guide, and you just say like, this kid who's playing over at Staley's willing to come to UMKC for your adjunct professor pay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's see what we got. I don't know.
Does UMKC have a jersey? Does Kansas City have a jersey sponsor yet? Do they have that? It's going to take a few mil for that to happen, or 500,000 probably at least. You know,
they don't pay me that to be
no,
adjunct.
no,
No, they do not.
We'll figure it out. One way or another, I'm getting you to donate some money. I'm going to force you to donate some money to your university.
I'm going to get back?
Yep. It's time.
I'll buy some tickets.
It's time.
You know?
Absolutely.
Do I get a discount as a teacher?
You should, honestly. I plan on going to a couple of games next year. I am excited, especially if they do go back to Municipal Auditorium. That's just a cool building to be in.
Yes.
But it sounds like they need some work there at the arena and auditorium to make that.
It's always it was a Final Four
for sure.
It was,
absolutely.
Like
I've been in there a handful of times.
You ever been in there, Drew? For a guy who likes
hasn't.
college sports history. Municipal Auditorium, Muni has hosted Final Fours. It's like Art Deco style, like very feels like an old arena.
Yeah, there's some updates they definitely need. But the Big 12 women's tournament used to be there. They moved it to T-Mobile Center recently, but it used to be at the same time as the men's tournament, but they would play the women's tournament at Municipal Auditorium. Anyway, all right, up next, we get to the Chiefs Red half hour. Let's talk about Brett Veach a little bit and some other names around his GM tree, what that tells us about how the league feels about Brett Veach, and then we'll get into the hypothetical trade involving a top pass rusher in the NFL.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ Soft Serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into Soft Serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
If the high cost of living is weighing you down, lighten your load at Hy-Vee. Save big at the pump with red-hot fuel saver deals this week. Stock up on groceries and stack up the savings when you scan your Hy-Vee Perks card at checkout. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up might even be free. Don't have a Perks card yet? Just download the app or go to Hy-Vee.com/perks and start saving today. Don't miss the red-hot fuel saver deals this week only at Hy-Vee.
The big game's here, and you're going to have a watch party. It may not be super for all of us Chiefs fans here in Kansas City, but still, Hy-Vee can help you make it super. Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for all of your big game watch party needs. You can get fresh dips. They've got all the chips, the take-and-bake pizzas, a great selection of wings, and my favorite is the bakery. I love their football-themed cookies, and they've got great sheet cakes and cupcakes as well. Mix and match in the wine and spirits department and save 10% when you mix or match 6 or more bottles. Only at Hy-Vee.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes. And to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Stay warm and worry-free with Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Get a new furnace absolutely free with the purchase of select HVAC systems. The pros at Hamilton make upgrading easy with flexible financing, expert installation, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your monthly energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee, are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon producing the show. Video stream up and running YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook. You can watch the show there. Cody's got, I thought you were going to wear Ruse gear today. You got a Kansas City.
That's good enough.
Yeah,
Kansas
that
City
works.
University, you know?
I figured you were about to wear.
I'll wear my Ruse sweatshirt tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
In honor of Mark Turgeon.
Yeah, I thought you would have been rocking your Ruse stuff today.
I've already told you, and I've worn this show since the inception of this show.
Yes.
If UMKC is ever in the NCAA tournament, I will not be here during their tournament game. I will be.
I hear you. I get
wherever their tournament game is.
Take the show on the road.
Connecticut, Dayton, wherever the hell I gotta be to watch the very first ever UMKC tournament basketball game. I'll be there. Also reasonable, just saying, hey, I just want to compete with the Summit League. Although St. Thomas does have reportedly some checks. They had that problem with Grand Canyon when they were in the WAC too. There's always going to be like one smaller school who can outspin the hell out of you. And they are one of their arenas nice. For a small school, their arena's nice. Have you looked it up before?
St. Thomas? No.
There's no real reason why you would have.
Why? Yeah. Why would I have? So anyway,
I was trying to teach you some history in the break.
I'll take a look.
Three of the first 4 Final Fours were at Municipal Auditorium.
Yeah. Yes, that is very true. All right, let's talk a little Chiefs football here. Chiefs Red Half Hour. And we know we talk coaching trees all the time and how that tells you the respect level and what your coach is doing. And we know Doug Peterson and what he did, and which was, be able to go to Philadelphia. They got a dang statue of the guy. I know he was since fired, but they got a statue of him after winning it. We know there have been other pieces off Andy Reid's tree. Sean McDermott is a member of the tree. Brad Childress, on and on and on we go. general manager wise, Brett Veach is still a fairly young GM in this sport, in terms of age at least. We all know that in Chicago, you've got elements of this front office. In Carolina, you have elements of this front office in the tree from Brett Veach. And the Atlanta Falcons actually hired former Bears assistant general manager Ian Cunningham. Now, are you including that as a? Are you including that overall as a tree though? Because he's not. He was not in Kansas City, right? He was. I mean, as a player, he actually was, but as an undrafted free
and he was a
agent,
part of the Ryan Poles stuff as well. So, like the way I view it, at least in the early trees, is who's starting to at least from this case, is who's starting to come off of in your case. And I think that Ryan Poles obviously is, and so are Borgonzi and some of these other guys who've gone on to stuff. This to me is just starting to reach how far the depth goes, as in the way I'm starting to look at the McVay tree. I understand that the only people we give you direct credit for are the people who work under you, not the people who work under you who then go on to it. So Ian Cunningham, who didn't get the job, did get the job. He did get no, I can't remember.
He got hired. He got as their GM. Remember, Matt Ryan's got a different gig above him. But
while he probably technically counts off of the Poles tree, I think it's just talking about the reaches of what people must be thinking of Brett Veach outside of this. Because I think in Kansas City, not soured, because how can it sour for a guy who's had the amount of success that it is? But he has gotten lumped into the offensive coordinator part of things, except for he's behind Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So people don't want to give him credit. Unlike Howie Roseman, they're like, Nick Foles, Jalen Hurts, good for you, dude. You're making it happen with nobodies. I don't think that they're inclined to give Brett Veach the credit. Now, on the outsider's perspective, I don't think that's the truth. Because if you start looking at people who've been hired out of this front office directly in the last few years, including Ballard and Borgonzi and Poles, you're starting to talk about 4 of the GM jobs including himself, are out of Brett Veach. And now the arms are starting to reach out that they just like the way Poles is running it, so they're going to start borrowing guys like Cunningham. So there's obviously a way in which they're borrowing it or running these teams that works. I think you should take this as a big compliment for Brett Veach. How far his arms are starting to reach in the league, especially considering he's only been at it for a little under a decade.
The overall opinion, nationally on him in some ways, I think after this year is still extremely, extremely high. I think locally it's hard to judge, the social media versus
the loudest voices.
I mean, there's reasons to be critical of his drafts at times, no doubt. This is an offseason that I think will change one way or the other. If there's anybody that is on the fence, I guess, and doesn't believe he has been doing a good job despite the success they have had, this is a big offseason for that. If we sit here a year from now and last year's draft turns out to be even better, meaning Josh Simmons plays a full year and he's the guy we think he is.
And Omar steps up
and Gelati, if those guys pan out, then last year's draft class is viewed way differently. This is the big one. You got a top 10 pick. You got pick 40. You got to make decisions on, technically on Trent McDuffie. I guess you could just play it out another year if you wanted. But these are big decisions that will truly shape the next 4 years or so of your franchise and therefore your legacy, which already has the rings and all that. Nobody's taking that away from you. But just the momentum moving forward into the next era of your time as a general manager. Yeah, I think those that are frustrated with some of the draft decisions in certain positions, premium positions, this is a draft that you can change that. If you nail, let's say it's a defensive end that they draft, and that guy turns out to be a stud and an all-pro or something, then nobody can use basically what is the obvious criticism right now, which has been finding through the draft, other than Karlaftis, somebody on the defensive line that you have evaluated at a very high level.
I don't think it's an unfair thing to say. But it's also not the insult I think people mean it, which is Brett Veach has been living off of 2022, draft-wise. I mean, because if you take away that year, man, woof. I mean, genuinely, because that's just the way that it works. In I'll just go through the drafts, and I'm gonna explain this in the way that I would judge it, because everybody judged drafts differently. Gold. I view a successful draft in really one of two areas. Either you drafted players that helped you win a Super Bowl that year, which I'll give you more credit for a player like, let's say, McCole Hardman, who's not a star player, but certainly was a part of championship teams, or a player who gets a second contract or is deserving of a second contract. In his first year drafting, he did not have a single player worth a second contract. None. Derek Nottie got a second contract, but let's not get carried away. In year 2 of drafting, McCole is his best pick, or Juan Thornhill is his best pick. Juan didn't get a second contract here. McCormick helped the team, so I'll give him some credit. Like, that's not the worst pick you've ever made in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Not a home run, but I'm not, like, mad about it. His best pick in the following one was L'Jarius Sneed. That was a pick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a total bust. Willie Gay, really nice pick, no complaints. And then L'Jarius Sneed, his best pick. Pro Bowl caliber player, you did it. Bolton, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, those are championship players. They've been a part of championships, and you gave them all second contracts. That draft hit. 2022 was a massive hit. The problem is, since then, how many second contract players do we have right now? Rashee Rice is the only player I would say even eligible in 2023, and we've got some off-the-field issues. Xavier Worthy is probably the only possibility right now of a second contract guy in 2024. Maybe Kingsley, maybe Hicks if they get a lot better, a lot quicker. And then this year, because we just don't know. Simmons would be the only one that seems, or Noel Williams maybe, but we just don't know yet.
But I mean, so
they're not misses, though, not whiffs.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, and you know this, the times where he has picked higher in the draft, Trent McDuffie, the most notable, that those have been hits. And so this year, he's going to pick higher than he ever has, unless they have a shocking trade that moves him way out of the top 10. That is the part that I still think is part of the story. Look, it's a results-based business. You gotta have the results there for you, and they do have the results. And
they have a bunch of Super Bowl appearances and wins.
But I'm just saying, when you draft 28 to 32, I do think the likelihood of hitting on picks is just not as high as if I told you he was picking in the top 15 every year. That would be a problem if he was picking the top 15 every year for other reasons. But this is why this draft is so important. He hasn't had many opportunities to pick this high. And when he has been able to trade up to 22 or whatever it was for McDuffie, it panned out very well for them. So this will go a long ways to deciding it. I do wonder, and I don't know if people in Philadelphia do this with Howie Roseman or not. It's fine. Like you were going through his draft history, and I get it. Fast forward, I would argue we're already there, but 5 years from now, like at some point, Cody, I don't really care what his draft was in 2018, in 2019. It's in 2026. When do we get to that point where it just doesn't matter? And what is it truly? What have you done the last 4 years? That is like, I'm not going to care. And maybe they did in Philadelphia. Like, I don't think 10 years from now, if he's still the GM, I really don't care that he missed on Breland Speaks at that point in time. And
10 years from now,
I really don't care anymore now, frankly.
No, it'd be more like in 10 years from now, I won't care that he missed on Felix and Udike Uzama. I'll bury them as time goes on, especially if you get other hits, because it's about other hits.
Sure.
Like, it's not about, like, you're not going to hit 100% of them. But, like, I guess here's
who's the next pillar? He's got to find the pillars.
Yes.
We've talked about that over and over. This is the draft that it feels like you would be able to do that. But you got to find your pillars of your organization for the next 5 years. We know it's Mahomes already. If McDuffie stays, he's a pillar. But after that, they don't have any other ones, really. I don't count offensive linemen. Sorry, I just don't.
I don't.
I guess if it would be your
Creed,
left tackle.
Probably, or
your
Simmons,
left tackle because of position.
Left tackle is the only position I would put as pillar just because of the positional value. Here's always you and I do this with quarterbacks sometimes. I think this is actually a really good way to judge it. Do you have a good GM? Do you have a good head coach? Do you have a good quarterback? If it was a draft, wide open, right now, 32 teams, all picking, and we're going to do a draft for 32 GMs, 32 starting quarterbacks, and 32 head coaches. I'll tell you right now, if they do a 32-team head coach draft, Andy Reid's going in the top 5. He's probably not going 1. Someone's going to choose someone younger. They're going to take their McVay. They're going to take whoever. They're going to take their Kyle Shanahan, but he's not falling any further than the 5 to 7 range, okay? If we take the quarterback, he's going 1-1. Boom, problem solved. GM. It's a 32-team drafted GM. How long till Brett Veach gets taken? And the answer is no later than 5.
Yeah, he's
not
5.
going later than 5.
He's top 5.
And so, that's how I know they got a good GM in Kansas City.
I get the star power part of it, but the Chiefs are still second best. I don't know who number 1 is. The Chiefs are second best in the last 5 years of players you draft that are still on your team.
Yeah.
And that I know that everybody wants, who's the all-pro? I get it, but that is still how you sustain a dynasty as well. Consistent success.
They get so much out of the guys 4th round and later.
Yeah, and they have a whiff, it looks like, in Felix, to say the least. But you're number 2, and just having guys that are still on your roster in the last 5 years that you draft, that is the most important thing, I think, in the entire deal. If you're picking where the Chiefs have 28 to 32 in most years, if you're telling me during the last 5 years, guys they draft, they're guys that play for multiple years on your roster. You don't have guys that flame out after a year or so. That's pretty good. Doesn't mean there never will be one. Like, there is no 100% hit rate.
No.
Not even Howie Roseman's hitting that 100%, guys.
I always point out that he took, if you just want to point out, the biggest misses of they could have had this person instead of that person, Jalen Reagor was taken one pick before by Howie Roseman instead of Justin Jefferson. Now, I'm curious if you'll agree to one part of the draft.
Yeah.
That has been a point of, I would say, difference in our opinion on the way this works. I agree with you. When you're picking in the 40s, 50s, 60s, then we start playing the comparison game. It gets very dicey. Oh, they could have taken Alec Pierce at 55. At 9? Oh, no. At 9, if you take Mekhi Lemon and it turns out Carnell Tate is a superstar, no, you got to wear that one.
For sure.
That's different at 9. I can agree to a point that the further and further down the draft we get, it's like, why couldn't they take Puka? I don't know.
No, at 9, you have to get
Fine,
it right. At 9, it has to be right.
At 9, I get to comp. I don't get to comp to the wide receiver taken at 104. But I get to comp, if you take a wide receiver or you don't take, or you take an end, I get to comp them to anyone else who's even ballpark in that area because of how high you're picking.
For sure. And that's why, I don't know how many it'll end up being, and we'll find out during the combine. I think Brett Veach will have some media availability then. This year, the luxury you have is out of the 32 first-round picks, you know this, Cody, there's 10, maybe 15 max true first-rounders.
I say it's really low this year,
right?
too,
And so maybe it's 10 this year. Well, I'm picking 9th. So I'm going to have for a true first round grade on somebody. Now I don't know who that's going to be for them. We all are going to continue with mock drafts and stuff for the next 3 months or 2.5 months, going through positional value. Would you take a running back? Would you take a wide receiver? Would you rather have the safety downs? That's the decision that the free agent class, I think, will put them, or push them, I should say, towards a certain direction. If they address running back and free agency, well, then there's no way on earth they're taking Jeremiah Love at 9 if they go and spend a good amount of money on a free agent running back.
Yeah.
So some of that will get cleared up. But, yeah, they have to get it right. Absolutely have to get it right.
It's just the comp game is different at 9 than it is at 45, 52, really anything after that. But the first 15 picks, I got to look side by side. First 25 picks, I got to look side by side and be like, that guy was right there. Clyde is right at the precipice of that. You took him with your first pick in the first round, and then the next 2 picks later, the pick after that was Jonathan Taylor. Damn. When you get into the lower ranges, yeah, it's harder because a lot of people are looking at flawed players for flawed reasons and trying to figure out what kind of the unlock key is and understanding where to go next with it. And so you're just running into these other stuff. And then it comes back to Brett Veach and whether or not he wants to make off-season trades. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, defensive end candidates, because there is part of me that thinks if you want to win now, should you be taking a chance with some of these picks? If you could instead just trade for a defensive lineman, and look, it doesn't have to be Myles Garrett. It could be. I'm not saying no, except for the price is astronomical and the asking price would be crazy.
Yeah.
Should they be looking at a trade instead of trying to figure it out? For a team that they are, do they need to get in the game of hoping Bailey or Bain works out or there? Could they just get in the defensive? And it doesn't have to be with pick 9. I just meant.
Yeah. Look, I think there's probably an argument that they should be, willing to trade a bit more than they have. My only pushback this offseason on trading assets and draft capital away is we just acknowledge, the way the roster is currently set up. And,
financially, they're a bit broke.
The cap issue that they have. I don't know if you're in a spot in what is, we'll call it a retool year, in my opinion, coming up. Is this the year where you want to be giving away draft assets where you happen to have the 9th and 40th pick? Is this the year where you're willing to give up those picks or one of those picks? I don't know if I necessarily am, unless we find out that they don't like the draft class. That always can happen too. We find out that, yeah, we're picking 9th, but we really don't feel great about any of these guys. I have no idea if that'll be the case.
Then you should trade down.
Trade down or be willing to trade one of those picks to acquire proven assets. Sure, but assuming you actually think at 9 you can go find a stud and maybe a pillar for this franchise. Well, then there's no way you can move on from that pick if that's the case.
I guess just part of it is I'm not sure that we looked up the sack numbers, and I want to point these out because it's going to apply to the player at 9, the same as it applied to the other players. Sack numbers for rookies in the NFL are always much smaller than you would like to admit. And so for a rookie coming into the draft class, if you draft a guy like Bain, you better not just be thinking he's now George Karlaftis immediately, and he's an 8 to 12 sack guy his rookie year. He could be. It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's out of the question, and it's certainly more likely at 9 than it is the rest. Do you know who led all rookies in sacks last year? And it was a weak class, admittedly. But do you know who led all rookies in sacks?
Off the top of my head, no.
James Pierce Jr.
Oh, that was the guy we talked about quite a bit.
It was at 10.5. The next highest rookie sack numbers was 5.5. The year before, you're like, wow, what a year. 8.5 led all rookies. Like led all rookies. And that wasn't the guy taken at 9th overall. So like to your point, Gold, if you are a build in the long term, next year can be a good year. Let's just try to take Patrick Mahomes into a postseason and see what happens. Okay. I think taking it 9 no matter what makes sense. If you want to be better immediately, that's probably not the answer, other than you're going to get more pressures and more sacks, but please do not expect 10 to 12 to 14. Hell, 8 even. 3 years ago, I looked it up, 9 sacks was the leader. Will Anderson Jr., who is a superstar, had 7. Like, right, he is great at what he does now. It takes pass rushers a little bit of time. They can be impact players, as in better than most of your rotational guys. They're not instant start stars at the defensive end. Hardly ever when they just immediately come into the league. It's just very, very, very uncommon that like they have that Myles Garrett rookie year or some of these other guys.
Man, you brought James Pierce.
No, you really like James Pierce. I remember.
Look, Josh Simmons, if he plays next year, all 17, I think they.
If they're both Pro Bowlers, you take one. You still take Simmons.
I think they crush the pick. Possibly, I think it's going to turn out to be.
And Pierce went ahead of him. I just want to point that out.
So he wasn't. Yeah, unless you would have traded up.
Technically wasn't available.
But Pierce was definitely. We did all these mock drafts for months. That was definitely the name.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and that's the part I guess to remember is, you're right, Pierce. This is an easier one. This is an easier pill to swallow. This one, Gold, because he wasn't available. Like he was an unavailable player to the Chiefs at the time they picked. And because what we were saying at that time, they couldn't really afford to give up the assets. This is the other part about trading down that becomes interesting for them is if next year's draft class is as good as they say, and let's say they view it internally.
2027
well,
picks.
They internally think about it the way you think about it, which is we can be good next year, but we're not going to be one of the 5 best teams in the league. So we got to play this smart. If that's the way they feel about it, well, then they should be trading down from 9, trading to 17 and getting someone's next year's first. And hope that team stinks.
Well,
hope that team's wrong about where they are and they fall apart and they lose their quarterback. Do what the Rams
The Rams last year. Now, it resulted in, I believe one of the picks was James Pierce Jr., if I'm not mistaken, for the Falcons. But the Rams have the Falcons, what is it, a 12th overall pick, 11th, wherever they're picking in the draft. In that range, 10 to 12 range. They have that pick because, remember, the Falcons, which I did not think it was a smart move necessarily, they gave up first-round assets for the next year and don't have any pay. Like that's for a team like the Falcons who didn't even make the playoffs.
But bad teams will make bad decisions.
Yeah,
you know,
who's that team that's willing to be desperate and do that? I think the Chiefs should be taking a pick at 9, but I hear what you're saying.
But now it's not. Let's see. Let's look for the stupid team that's picking below them that would make a bad decision. Oh, Panthers, 19, easiest. Oh man, let's load up one more time with Bryce Young. We can do it. Or you just trade up with the Steelers and let them take Ty Simpson at 9. Go down to 21 and get that first-round pick next year.
Drew, maybe you disagree.
Let them tank with a first-round quarterback.
I don't think any team has to get to 9 to get Ty Simpson.
That might be true. Let's see his combine.
Yeah, fair. I don't know if any team has to get to the top 10 to get Ty Simpson. I would be surprised by that.
The Jets are also picking at 16. So. They're pretty regularly stupid.
Who?
The Jets.
Oh, well, then they're a joke.
Yeah, that's why they're a great pick for this. Also, if the Jets convince themselves they should trade it from 16 to 9 for next year's first-round pick immediately, the Jets are the most likely team to stink next year.
Remember, the Jets already have the Colts' couple firsts for the Sauce Gardner trade.
Yeah, so why not? They
got plenty of them. You
know,
they're saving those for 2027. I think I think the Jets are saving some of those.
That's why people were saying they should just sell the world and try to convince the Raiders to come off Fernando Mendoza. Like, give up all the first-round picks you've acquired.
But look, I like Mendoza. He's seems like an unbelievable person in all this. Is he the quarterback, though, you're mortgaging everything for?
He's not the Andrew Luck type. He's not the Joe Burrow type.
He could go on to have a very nice NFL career. I'm not saying he's a bust. But I don't know if he's ever a top 5, like, oh, my gosh, generational talent. That's not Fernando Mendoza.
And what's crazy is when people trade up for that guy, nobody gives up one. When it's the 1-1 and everybody knows it, when it's Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow, just some examples of when people are like, that's 1-1 and we are not questioning, and that's a future 10-year starter in the NFL. People don't give up that pick. They just make it. You can throw as many first-round picks at them as you want. The Jets could legitimately offer him. Pick number 2, pick number 16, next year's first-round pick, and the first-round pick after that. And I don't think the Raiders would budge. Because then what's their situation? Where the hell are they? Starting Geno Smith for another year with 17 first-round picks? Like, at some point, you got to field a quarterback to actually be decent in this league. So unless you think Mac Jones or Malik Willis are this year's Sam Darnold, and you're just going to
Mac Jones
load it with talent.
Mac Jones feels like he's headed to either one of 3 places: Minnesota, Pittsburgh, or Miami, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Feels like it's one of those 3 landing spots.
I got to say, that was a whole nother part about the Minnesota thing with their GM that I didn't think about. He screwed up with the quarterback stuff. I forgot that he fired Clint Kubiak. They had a good offensive year, and then things fell a little bit south for a little bit. And he canned Clint Kubiak, too, who's getting ready to be a head coach.
Yeah, that
He
one
just got
doesn't
no
matter.
eye for talent,
That
I
one
guess.
doesn't
I don't
matter
know.
as much because Kevin O'Connell's calling plays for you. But I hear what you're saying.
You let go of a talented coach.
And yeah, Kubiak's going to be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, barring something suddenly shifting in the next week or so. All right, up next, we get to what's trending. Thinking of coaching, let's talk about Kansas State and Jerome Tang's latest comments after a blowout loss to Iowa State. And we talk a little Royals baseball as Vinny Pasquantino over the weekend got a little security on it to your contract.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
All right, this Sunday is football's biggest game, and it's right around the corner, so you get in on the action with Underdog right now in Missouri. If you're not an Underdog yet, I got great news for you because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. It's super easy. You're just going to choose those players to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and so much more. And with new promos dropping daily in the app, you can start making those entries now for the big game coming up on Sunday. If you like winning money, Underdog is the best place to go for the big game. What are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on Underdog. Underdog, make plays, win money. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets to underdogfantasy.com/web/playing at terms_DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Midwest, winter 2026, Airman. Say, how's that utility bill? Even your level payment plan seems like it's tilting uphill? But wait, Airman here with some good news to re-level the playing field. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is now offering up to $1,400 in rebates on qualifying Lennox home comfort systems. But hold on, there's more. Midwest is also stepping up with 60 months 0% financing with approved credit. And the newest Lennox systems produce air that is more pure, run quieter, and are significantly more efficient. So much so that your new lower utility bill will seem like a late Christmas present. $1,400 rebate and 60 months at 0%. Now that's more like it. Go to MidwestHeating.com or dial 943-8787 for details. And as so many of your neighbors have for the past 7 decades, trust your air to the best. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue sauce and seasonings. Gates seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen during the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. New to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code 965. That's code 965 to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio. Limited time offer.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Chiefs Offseason Show with Bob, Dusty, Cody, Alex, and CDOT is Tuesday, February 10th, starting at 9 a.m. right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
#1 on what's trending, just some new news in the last half hour in the NFL. Sean McVay and Les Snead reportedly have signed contract extensions with the LA Rams. No surprise. I know some people had always speculated would Sean McVay go to the broadcast booth, take a little break, and then come back to the NFL. He decided an extension. Him and Les Snead are not going anywhere. The question for them will be whether or not there is Stafford as the quarterback, or they got to pivot and draft somebody.
That kind of ruins the wait out McVay till Andy Reid retires camp. He was never leaving there anyway. You got to let that dream die and find a different head coach.
I think so.
For your in-your-head succession plans for Andy Reid. Still, not surprising, they have been one of the most successfully run organizations McVay has largely seen. He's had more coaches come off of his coaching tree than just about every other coach combined at this point. Hell, Mike LaFleur just got a head coaching job over the weekend for the Cardinals. Next up on What's Trending, of course, over the weekend, UMKC officially hired Mark Turgeon to be their new head basketball coach for their men's team. Signed a 5-year deal. I didn't see the money on it, but a 5-year deal. He joined the show earlier today. If you missed any part of that, you can catch part of that back at 1:30. Spoke pretty honestly about the program and why he chose to come to UMKC.
Yeah, I thought he was very open. He also said, hey, look, they got me pretty cheap. I want to put together a good coaching staff. So, he wanted to make sure they had some money to bring some guys on the staff there. And
they got me pretty cheap. That's a funny thing to say about your own contract.
Hey man, you got to make sure
got me
that
pretty
they can
cheap at adjunct work too. I think
that way they can put together a staff there. So if you missed that conversation, as you said, we'll play some of that back in the 1 o'clock hour. Elsewhere, this is just kind of fun in this summer if you're looking for things to do. Post Malone and Jelly Roll are coming to Kauffman Stadium on July 15th. I think it's a Wednesday night. So the Royals are either the All-Star break or they're on the road or whatever it would be at that point in time. But yeah, Post Malone, Jelly Roll, it's the Big Ass Stadium Tour is what it's called.
Did they just decide to travel together because they both have a tremendous amount of face tattoos? Is that it? Like there's a similar look? They do, Drew.
They do.
They both have a lot of
Jelly
face
Roll
tattoos.
last night won a big award at the Grammys. That was last night as well. No, I'm mixed. This is one, you got me. Post Malone, Jelly Roll, I'll probably end up going if it's not 100 degrees outside.
I mean, it's July 15th
I'm not going if
in
it's
Kansas City.
I'm not going if it's 100, but if it's in the 80s, I'll find a way to be there.
If it's
Jelly Roll's got some really good songs. Obviously, Post Malone does as well, but Jelly Roll's good.
Jelly Roll's
Post Malone, you know multiple songs of his.
Yeah, or stuff he's collaborated on. I know far more of his
Circles.
stuff.
Circles.
It is All-Star break, by the way.
Okay.
All-Star break. Next up on What's Trending, the NFL announcing it will return to Madrid and play games there in a multi-year partnership beginning in 2026. NFL has now confirmed games in Madrid, Melbourne, Rio de Janeiro, Munich, and they have games in London. Plus, today they also confirmed that they'll be heading to France for the first time ever. As you remember, they have not yet played a game there as they continue their overseas trend. I got to remember which city. I'm guessing it's going to be in Paris.
Yes, it is Paris.
They will be the first ever, Saints will be the first ever home team for the first ever NFL game in Paris, yes, this upcoming season. So they will have games in Madrid, Melbourne, Rio de Janeiro, Munich, London, and Paris.
And then isn't Ireland still a possibility next year again?
I think so as well.
Yeah. So the Chiefs are playing overseas somewhere next year.
This is why they need the 18 games. They think they need the inventory. They're going to fight really hard for the 18 games before the 2030 season because they just know they need the inventory.
I don't know where, but the Chiefs will be playing internationally next year. I know there was a lot of speculation about Ireland. Some people were dreaming of a Rams-Chiefs one in Australia. Some others said, they're going back to Germany. So somewhere, we'll have to wait till May when the schedule officially comes out.
What's the flight to Australia versus, Germany?
Oh, I think the time difference really gets you there too, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I'll let you look that up, Cody. I'll let you check that on the flight stuff. Elsewhere, NBA All-Star rosters were revealed. Of course, the 10 starter picks were announced 2 weeks ago ahead of All-Star Weekend, which is February 13th through 15th. The story here is that LeBron James, for the first time in his career, will come off the bench in an All-Star game. It also is the brand new USA versus the world format. It'll be out in L.A. in the Clippers Stadium. But we'll see how that plays out. We'll see. I'm intrigued by it, but
the U.S. might be cooked.
You think?
Wemby, Luka, Giannis, Shea.
It's a pretty good Team World squad, in fairness. That seems like the better players, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Lastly, on What's Trending, it's Groundhog's Day, which means Punxsutawney Phil looked at his shadow. Bad news, Gold!
No.
Bad news! 6 more weeks of winter coming your way.
That's ridiculous.
So, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I'll be outside. It's supposed to be 60 degrees next Monday.
60 degrees next Monday? Finally, we're going to get the snow off the damn ground?
I see a shadow on my stage.
What a pageantry. What a city. What a city to making the whole thing about one event.
Yeah, it is going to be nice weather, as you said, later in the week. But then we'll get snow probably in 2 weeks. But I'll enjoy later this week for sure.
Is it supposed to be warmer? I guess I
Yeah,
have
50s, man.
50s starting on Thursday every day till Monday or Tuesday.
A nice weekend in Kansas City. 50s. Time to wash the car finally. Go out and do some stuff. Hell yeah. Drew's going to go golfing, as he said.
50, yeah, it is.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Thinking of nice weather, our friends over at 30 Hop, they got great patios over there. So maybe this weekend the weather will be nice enough. You can check out their expansive patios. 30 Hop, whether it is in Lee Summit, down the street from us in Merriam's Grand Station. 30 Hop, your new go-to. And on Mondays, $5.99 classic burgers. Just $5.99 for a classic burger at 30 Hop each and every Monday. You can stop in for lunch. You stay for a little happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
Someone's on the text line says, I know you guys don't really watch movies. We watch movies, just Drew doesn't. Says, do you guys like the movie Groundhog Day? Doesn't everybody?
It's been years since I've seen it.
I love it. It is probably one of my 10 favorite comedies of all time. I quote it regularly. I will say, if you're looking for another movie in that style that I thought was really, really well, as in you are stuck in a purgatory situation where you're just reliving the same day over and over again. I thought the movie Palm Springs was really good. Have you seen that before?
Palm Springs? No.
Yeah. So it's got it's God. Now I'm trying to remember the actress's name. Kristen Milioti.
Okay.
Do you remember?
I'd have to. I'm bad with this stuff.
You would I imagine.
see.
Okay. I imagine you would recognize her from at least a couple of other things. And Andy Samberg from
sure
from SNL fame.
Yeah.
They're stuck in that kind of situation. I think it's very good, very entertaining movie. Go check it out.
Somebody's arguing with you on the text line.
Edge of Tomorrow is also great.
Someone is saying that you're wrong that it is spring this year. They said Punxsutawney Phil died. I'm pretty sure.
He died? I think they just get a new one like the Bulldog in Georgia.
Yeah. I'm
sure Punxsutawney Phil died.
He definitely saw a shadow. I know for a fact today they said the shadow was seen. 6 more weeks of winter.
Other people mentioning so many. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. No movie stuff. Well, we'll get to that stuff later. Did you see Edge of Tomorrow? That's another one I really liked.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow is very good.
Okay.
I do like Edge of Tomorrow.
Just making sure. Someone says the morning show does not like the movie Groundhog Day.
Oh.
It's not our fault they have
I mean, you're
taste.
saying it's like an all-timer for you. I don't know if I'm at that level.
It is.
But yeah. And people asking about the new trailer for Michael. I know it came out today. I have not seen it yet.
I'm not
the trailer
interested in
was
watching it at all.
Really?
Zero interest. I told you I'm done with biopics. I'm out.
Okay.
It's the only movie
I
that
will
Hollywood
probably end up seeing it.
It's the only type of movie that Hollywood can make, and I am no longer interested in consuming any biopic of any kind about anybody.
The only movie Hollywood can make. I mean, out of the 6 Best Picture nominees, are any of them a biopic? Or biopic? I mean, like one, if any of them. Anyway, Michael, yes, to answer the question, I have not seen the trailer. I do want to see that a little bit later on. I'll watch it maybe during a break or whatever. Drew, I think, was hyping it up as well.
Drew is very excited about
yeah.
it. He doesn't even like movies.
I'm excited.
I do want to
watch
see it. I definitely want to see that. All right, let's talk a little bit about Kansas State for a second. I think it goes without saying we've discussed their season and how disappointing it has been. They are last place in the Big 12 right now. Jerome Tang has the massive buyout. We also know that, but they are currently 1-8, 10-12. It got even worse over the weekend. They lost 95-61 to Iowa State at home, 95-61. And you've reached a point where, like, if this is where you're going, it's getting really bad for you. This was Jerome Tang after the game, seemingly blaming the media a little bit.
It doesn't matter what I think, because whatever I say, y'all are gonna take whatever you want to and clip it the way you want to and post it the way you want to, so you can get the clicks that you need. And that's so. It doesn't matter what I say. What matters is what I'm doing with these young men on the floor, in practice every day, in their daily lives, to help them continue to move forward. And then, because this is the crew that I brought in, right? And this is the crew I wanted to roll with. Right? And if we're not good enough at the end of the season, right, then we will figure the thing out for the next thing. But no, I don't feel like I need to give an explanation to our fans right now. I want them to know that I'm working really hard, and I'm not proud. I'm not happy with the results, but I am proud of the young men that we brought in.
Yeah, you're
just trying to get your little clicks, Gold.
The question was, do you have a message to fans? And that was his response to it. I'm sorry, when you're 10-12 and you're 1-8, like, I actually do think you owe it to your fans to explain.
It's a pretty big league, and you're dead last.
Yeah, I mean, I not to mention last year. This is not like last year you were in the tournament and things were great and it's just an off year. This is now multiple years in a row. This year's even worse. You're sitting truly right now. If the Big 12 tournament would start, which it will be in March, obviously at T-Mobile, they would be the 16 seed, dead last, last.
I think it's fairly obvious he's cracked. So sometimes this happens where, like, you can tell that they're kind of maybe losing their grip on a program. He's cracked. It broke him. And I don't, and he'll never get it back. When you are this, if you're down this bad, that's it. And look, it doesn't mean they're going to pay his buyout. It is an astronomically high number, considering the race he got himself when he threatened, I don't even remember where he was threatening to go.
Arkansas
at the time that eventually Calipari took during that time. So it's hard. It's hard to get the buyout and to make it work. That is the sound of a man who has lost it and has lost his program and has lost the faith of his players. He said he wasn't embarrassed by a 30-point drubbing and that he doesn't need to explain anything.
He was asked,
dead last in the Big 12. What are you talking about?
He was asked if he was disappointed, I think was the exact phrasing. Are you disappointed? And he said, I'm not disappointed.
I am. You should be.
I mean, I think he corrected it by the end of it, though. Like, he said he's disappointed in how they're playing, but he's not disappointed in the players. Like, I think that's...
I know. But Drew, that goes back to, like, and maybe this is just a personality difference. That just goes back to, like, you don't get to be... You can't just be ultra positive in everything you do all the time in this world. Like, as a coach, you have to sometimes say, we're not playing well enough, and I am disappointed in our play. Or myself, or something. Just like, I mean... being like, I'm happy. I'm proud of these young men because they try hard. Like, it doesn't work that way when we're talking about tens of millions of dollars in a professional sport.
I mean, I'm sure
like, it can't be like we work hard.
I'm sure Andy's the same way.
I don't think
so.
I
think Andy gets on everybody. Like, privately, I think Jerome Tang probably is getting on the guys. I mean, Andy's the same way when we hear Andy talk. he's not overly critical in any way, shape, or form.
But now he's starting to blame others. It's the media's fault because we have an article up that's somehow bad-mouthing the program. I don't have to bad-mouth anything. You're 1-8.
I think it's the fact that he's not winning that people are having a problem with how he's handling.
Well, of course.
I think that's
how sports works.
No, I understand that, but I think you're looking for an answer that I don't think you would. I don't think you're going to get because it's not. You're expecting something from him that's not his personality. So the fact that he's not winning, it makes people concerned. Where if they were, I don't know, if they were a 10 seed in the tournament and they were making the tournament and you were asking I think
people want accountability though.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think the same people want accountability with Andy Reid when he talks, and I think that it depends on your actions and beyond just what he says. I think that ultimately it's not even how he's handling it. I think our viewpoint of how it makes Jerome Tang look bad is not a automatic signal of what's happening within the building. It's not like he's doing nothing and he just tells the guys after the game, "Hey man, I'm proud of you guys. I know we just got scraped by 30 points, but I'm really proud of you guys."
Yeah,
he's not handling it that way.
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah, I'm not saying, Drew, that he's just given up on coaching and is just like, go do whatever the hell you. I don't think anybody. That's not my take. I don't think that's Cody's take. It is that this is not JUCO basketball. This is not high school basketball. You are the head coach of a Division I Power 4 now. It used to be Power 4 program that has had resources given to you with NIL. Nobody can use that as an excuse. Top resources to go get PJ Haggerty, the year before get Coleman Hawkins, and your job is to win basketball games. So if somebody says, "Hey, your fans are upset," you have a message, and it's like, "Oh, well, the media is going to blame that." That's why it's a problem. I think it's not a good sign of anything when now it's gotten to the point where you're not answering the question. To the point you're just going to blame the media, which has nothing to do with anything that's going on right now with your program.
Look, I think that's a fair point, but I just him answering the question in a certain doesn't make me feel any differently about Jerome Tang and the tenure and how it's gone. Like him saying I'm proud of the guys and blaming the media, it changes nothing in my opinion. The fact that you haven't figured it out.
Usually
that's
this is the end.
Apart.
Yeah, this is like the end.
You got no other real things to say about the basketball program. All you have left to say is, I love that they come into work smiling every day and it's the media's fault. They're out to get me and you guys just don't want to. And like coaches, when they really lose it, and we followed all sports long enough now, when they really lose it, they always make it seem like that if we came on this radio show and just said nice things and how K-State's heading in the right direction or said nice things about the Royals pitching, they just pitch better. If we were just nice to them, it would all fall in line. And if you guys would just get on board with happy-go-lucky, it's like I'm watching an episode of Reading Rainbow and everything's sunshine and rainbows, the basketball program would be fixed. And when they start talking like that, that's when I know they've lost it. It has nothing to do with even the rest of it. That's when I know they've lost it.
Do they have the money?
Nothing left.
I don't know if they have the money, though.
Oh, they might not be able to buy him out. I'm not saying that.
If he keeps his job, the only reason he's keeping his job is because the buyout's $18 million. I mean, I think that's the only way he hangs on is because fortunately his agent is awesome.
For the first time in my life, I think UMKC might have a better basketball coach than K-State. For the first time in my life, Drew, who do you think has a better head coach? UMKC or K-State? It's close.
I bet you K-State fans would be saying Mark Turgeon.
Well, yeah, of course they are because of what they're going through. Yeah. It's the same way that Wisconsin football is titled Luke Fickell. Yeah, please go back to who he had before. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see. I think Mark Turgeon's a very good coach. 5 years out of the game, though, it'll be interesting to see how quickly he adjusts.
Yeah, coming up in about 10 minutes, we will talk KU basketball. Darren Peterson was unbelievable in the first half. Notice we said first half, and then he played 2 minutes.
They still won.
In the second half, and it was one of the better wins they've had in a while there. And they have another one tonight against Texas Tech, so we'll talk some KU hoops, also the random question of the day. But on Friday evening, we got word that Vinny Pasquantino got a 2-year contract with the Royals. Remember, he was going through arbitration. He had a hearing scheduled. It's never a setting that anybody wants to be in, and you avoid the animosity that might have existed because of said hearing. You avoid that weird awkwardness maybe heading into spring training, all of that. So if you're the Royals, you avoid that part. If you're Vinny, you get a little bit of security. 2 years, $11 million incentives, according to Andy Rodgers, could bump it up to $16 million. His filing number was 4.5. So he's basically getting $5.5 million a year instead of 4.5 or 4.
He's getting like 4.25 this year. So essentially the midpoint between the Royals and him.
And it could end up being $16 million. So it could end up being $8 million a year if the incentives work his way. Now, it's not the deal he wanted. You want the 4 or 5 year deal. You want the $80+ million and that security. But this seems like a very good compromise for everybody to ensure that, all right, let's just go play some baseball and also give him a little bit of the money that he certainly does deserve.
I think it also just depends on probably your relationship with the player and what your future is for him. Because I still think the reason why he hasn't gotten that Maikel Garcia deal, where we buy up the arbitration years, but we also add a year or two at the end, give you a little more security, give us a little more security, lock you up for the, the majority of your tenure, right? The reason why I think, and why they've still held off on him is, I don't think they know what they're going to do with Jack yet. And because they have tons and tons and tons of years of control with Jack, where they essentially owe him nothing, even though we see these deals get done all the time. Who was
Jacob Wilson.
Wilson. Just got
7
paid.
for 70,
yeah.
I think is what it was.
So, they're just saying, we don't want to ever go to arbitration. Here's $10 million a year. The reason why you don't do that with Vinny right now is because they're not sure what they're doing with Jack Caglione yet. I don't think Jack Caglione has an excuse this year as the right field's throwing off my hitting department. I'd actually give him part of that for last year. In the middle of the season, he had to, learn how to play right field some of the time in AAA and then be a full-time right fielder in DH when he came up to the bigs. Not an easy thing to do. Might have thrown off his timing. Could have just been that he has some problems that in his approach that needed work, and that's a hard thing to do in the big leagues. So I don't think that they want to lock up Vinny long-term until they're sure. But I'm sure as hell glad they don't have to go to that meeting. They could televise Tarik Skubals on Wednesday. Could you imagine?
Well, they're way off. They're way off on their number.
Their filing numbers are night and day.
I think the Caglione point is interesting, and I think it's definitely part of the equation. Vinny Pasquantino publicly has even joked, I'm kind of training my replacement, if you will. I mean, if Cags hits number one, then the likelihood in 3 years that he's the first baseman, it's a decent chance, Cody. It's a decent chance that happens. Now, if right field, ends up, he continues to improve as a defender and right field is great and he's hitting, well, then the argument is why not just have both those bats in your lineup? Who wouldn't want to have Vinny's bat and Cags' bat in the lineup?
Yeah,
so
me.
They don't have to make that decision, as you said, for a couple more years. But I do think if you're wondering why, how come they haven't just given him a 4-year deal? One, because they really don't have to, just the nature of the sport, unfortunately, with him getting called up as late as he was.
Just the way the sport
and
is.
the other part is, because they might have someone that, in their mind, long-term can be that same role. So we'll see how the next 2 years goes, but it does, I think, this doesn't make it awkward, and you don't have to deal with that. And he gets some security. God forbid he were to miss a huge chunk of the season.
Pop up to the Royals rally, talk to fans, have a good time. Look, from a selfish standpoint, we like Vinny. He comes on our show regularly, and
absolutely,
I think he's a very good teammate and an important clubhouse leader.
And he's a big fan favorite, which you can't underestimate that.
No, especially for a team that had struggled for the better part of a decade until they made the playoffs a couple of years ago. I also think he is a wants-to-win winner type. Vern talked about this all the time when they had those guys like Whit Merrifield and some others who I do think got used to losing and comfortable with it. And to this point, I don't think Vinny or Bobby or these guys have ever been comfortable with it. I did look it up, by the way. Man, Tarik Skubal and the Detroit Tigers filed $13 million apart. Remember, the Royals filed at $4 million. Vinny filed at $4.5 million. Skubal filed at $32 million. And the Tigers filed at 19.
Yeah, this will be his last year in Detroit. I mean, it seems kind of obvious. He's headed to
because if
New
the league
York
sides
or
with him and
something.
it gets down to $19 million, I can tell you right now, he's going to request a trade as soon as that meeting's over. As soon as that meeting's over, he's going to ask out of Detroit.
We'll see. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. We'll see how it plays out. Good news for the Royals.
Yeah, and avoiding that, I just can't underestimate. The teams who choose to avoid arbitration, that's the right choice. The Royals are still going to have to do this with Chris Bubich. They've got a handful over the years that they have not been able to figure out before. But if you can avoid it, avoid it. I think they paid Vinny slightly higher than the current arbitration estimates said he would get paid. So he got overpaid a tiny bit. But to avoid a meeting? To keep one of your star players happy? It feels like a fairly, and again, it's not my money, but that seems like a fairly easy decision to make, Gold. I'm glad they finally got it worked out.
All right, coming up next, let's talk a little bit about Kansas basketball. Their big win against BYU, but once again, we're back to this Darren Peterson cramping, not playing. When does he play? When does he not play saga? That continues, and the random question of the day is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ Soft Serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into Soft Serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Well, it's a last call for football. FanDuel is giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today is a 30% profit boost on passing yards, over, under, and alternate passing yards. So you can take the over on Drake May. Maybe you like the over for Sam Darnold. Or maybe you're not feeling so sure, but you want to take a 200-plus passing yards from either quarterback. You can do so and get that 30% boost today. All you have to do is opt in each day and place an eligible bet to use that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in some early lines, you're riding your favorite props, or taking that last big swing before the final whistle of the NFL season, FanDuel is giving everyone something extra to cheer for during football's final week. So play your game with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60 and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issue non-withdrawable profit boot token. Restrictions apply, including all token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi there. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC.
If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help.
Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting.
Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team.
He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days.
He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises.
Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision.
Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com.
Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
As the owner, coach, and quarterback of your small business, you call the shots. From inventory to payroll and more. Now it's time to bring in LendSeek, your funding MVP. No delay of game here. Get up to $2 million in as fast as 24 hours for business lines of credit or term loans. Let LendSeek's AI marketplace assist you in making the winning play and score that touchdown. Apply at lendseek.com, LENDSEEK.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Report brought to you by Miva Medical. Relief for knee pain, enlarged prostate, and uterine fibroids. MivaMedical.com.
Start the new year feeling comfortable. Men, if frequent bathroom trips are slowing you down, it could be an enlarged prostate. Jeff Montgomery here. I stopped putting it off and contacted Dr. Brown at Miva Medical. The non-surgical treatment was quick and covered by insurance. Contact Miva Medical, MIVA-medical.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Peterson jams it. Wow, what a finish by Darren Peterson.
That was the call from Dan Schulman and Jay Billis Saturday. Just ridiculous posterizing dunk from Darren Peterson. That was in the first half when all was great. You know, they were beating up on BYU. Darren Peterson looked every bit like the number 1 overall pick. Scored 18
Best they'd
points.
looked all year, probably.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, they were 9-12 from 3. I mean, it was absolutely insane, the first half performance. They end up tightening things up late. They win 90-82 against BYU. It was the 1,000th game, as we all know, at Allen Fieldhouse. But the Darren Peterson saga still came out of the game being one of the biggest talking points. As much as it was one of the better wins that they have had for Kansas in a while, Darren Peterson only playing 2 minutes in the second half and then just sitting on the bench the entire second half, even when the game got a little tight, got down to 4, got down to 6, I think, whatever it was.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
You know what I mean?
Ended up winning by 8. It wasn't ever like away until the final minute of the game.
But if there was a time to come back in, that would have been it. And then you couple it with some of the video that's out there where it looks like, the agent of Darren Peterson was in attendance, which he has been before. But then one of the associate ADs at Kansas was talking and then goes and talks to Darren Peterson right before the second half starts. And then it's a half in which he sits. Look, I have said all along, I think he's not faking an injury. Like that to me, anybody saying that, actually, it's extremely unfair. However,
could he play through the injury?
Exactly. That's the difference. Faking the injury? No. I think
he really has the injury.
Whether it was the ankle, now it's the cramping. It's very real. I think the difference is with some other players and in a non-one-and-done type of setup, he would still just go back in the game. Remember, he had played 32 minutes in multiple games in a row prior to the ankle injury, and then here we are again. We're right back where we were with, is he available? Is he not? When is he going to pull himself out of a game? And it's very frustrating, I think, for Kansas fans because you see the top end, oh my gosh, this is the most ridiculous athlete I've seen play, and then to where he's just chilling on the bench. And so, yeah, I think it's the pushing element, Cody. I think it is absolutely in that regard. We can, I guess, use the word load management if we want, injury management, load management, whatever. What is unique, though, is this where we're headed in college basketball for the future? Because I've seen a lot of people say, well, this is just what we're going to always see now, that NIL, you get your money, you play limited minutes, whatever. I think the opponent they were playing proved that that's not the case all the way around. A.J. DeBonsa has been healthy all year, so he hasn't been limited. Cam Boozer has not been hurt, so he's playing full minutes. If Darren Peterson wasn't hurt at all, he would be playing. He's not playing, as you said, playing through the injury.
That's the difference. And look, I think it's obviously to protect his future and his career. And if I were a Kansas fan, what I would genuinely do at this moment is just accept it. Because if he was an average basketball player, if he was just Hunter Dickinson or, whatever, just some dude who came to campus and was supposed to be a decent basketball player and was playing okay, was pretty good, and was doing all this, then fine. Let it ruin your day and be like, I want this guy out of campus and get him out of here. He's not doing any good. This, in all the years I've watched Kansas basketball, since we've been in Kansas City, a very long time, same amount of time you watch Missouri or Kansas State, might be the most talented player Kansas has ever had. I actually think it is. I think it is their most talented player ever, and not just because I think he's going to go 1-1 in the draft. It is mostly with the ease in which he plays basketball. So, he's 18, and he is one of the more polished 18-year-olds I've ever seen. Like, everything he does, dribbles, handle, the shot, that fadeaway he took in the game, you're like, yep, that's just a guy who can play basketball, no questions about it. So, in a lot of ways, it's just like, you just kind of have to accept it. But I would say, the assistant AD, no one should be going, why is an assistant AD talking to the player anyway?
Because clearly
Shouldn't that just be coaches?
Yeah, it should be, but that's the whole point of this. This is such a unique situation where the agent, whether they'll ever say it publicly, is clearly heavily involved. And heck, I would argue the agent's technically doing his job. He's protecting his client.
Yeah,
it sucks as a KU alum. As a KU alum, I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. But that's what's clearly going on here. There's clearly conversations. Bill Self is never going to throw the player under the bus and say that, nor should he. That would be damaging for future recruiting, et cetera, like that. But I think it's very evident that there is limitations coming from his team.
Can I ask a question about what is he protecting himself from anymore? Because other than a hamstring's not a long-term injury, everyone agrees that if he just sat for 2 months, he'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So when draft time comes around, he can just sit for 2 months. What is he harming now? He's going number 1 overall. He's the best player in the country. Everyone's decided it. So what is the protecting, I guess? At first it actually made sense. Him and AJ DeMonsta and some of these other things. And, let's make sure. I think now more than ever, and Drew follows the NBA more than me, now more than ever, it seems relatively universal that Darren Peterson's going 1-1 and that DeMonsta and Boozer will go 2-3, right? But at this point, it seems like. no one, I have a hard time imagining him resting at this point is convincing a team one way or another. You could just show him the first half against BYU and no amount of he misses games for injury or doesn't or does or any of this or slowed down or doesn't play as well because of the injury. None of that's going to matter because they saw the first 18 minutes against BYU in which he scored 18 points.
He was on a whole different level, the best we had seen him so far in a K uniform. I just think come March is when it's fascinating. It's the Sweet 16, let's say, if they're in the Sweet 16. And it's similar circumstance. They have a decent lead. They're a win away from an Elite Eight or something. And
then they won't carry.
Suddenly he's on the bench for the second half. And the game tightens up. And it's the Sweet 16, so everything do or die. 5 minutes to go. All of a sudden it's a 4-point game. He said in the whole half? He's willing to do that?
I think in the tournament he'd play more.
I would like to think it's different.
They don't play more.
I would like to think. I'm a little
the Big
nervous.
12 tournament for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I feel like that might still be a rest
NCAA tournament. I do think in the NCAA tournament it will be different. Maybe I'm being naive about it and wishful thinking, but I do think there's a difference when it literally is hey, this might be my last game, and it's that part of it. Because here's the thing: everybody that pushes the narrative of well, he must just be a bad teammate. Go look at how he interacts with his teammates. Wow. Go look at the
He's too talented.
Go look at you guys probably seen the Instagram live clips that get tweeted out from when they're celebrating. The teammates love the guy. So this is not his teammates don't feel like he's quitting on them at all or anything like that. That's just a narrative that's floating out there from fans. Yeah. His teammates love him.
Yeah.
So that's not really
the fact that he's injured. He's not not doing he's not doing this.
Yes, it's extremely frustrating, though.
Of course,
it's
man.
So frustrating.
Because the first half, that game actually perfectly embodied the season, even though they're playing their best basketball by far. They're beating ranked team after ranked team. They're playing good, consistent basketball, all that stuff. This is as good as they've played.
Tough one tonight.
Road game on Texas Tech on short rest. Yeah, that's tough.
Don't feel great about them tonight.
But if they win that one, yet another, goodness, where's this team headed? But, that game perfectly highlighted it because he's dunking over dudes, hitting fadeaway jumpers, scoring a point a minute. like embarrassing in a lot of ways. The other potential number 1 overall pick in the draft, that guy's scoring nothing while he's just lighting up the scoreboard for the whole first half. And then the second half, unavailable. I will not be available to play basketball for you. I'm sorry.
I think that's something.
Peterson jams it. Oh, what a finish by Darren Peterson.
You know, obviously he'll take like the highlight and the shine, but I thought that in terms of, and Jay Billis mentioned it during the broadcast, the ability that they have, and maybe this is too basketball for some people, but the ability that they have to defend and recover is what made them shut down AJ DeBonsa. Like it was amazing to watch that first half. Forget the offensive stuff. Like them playing defense against AJ was remarkable on how well they played. And yes, 75 is correct. We'd be remiss if we did not shout out Bryson Tiller, who
was
had
awesome.
The best game of the season, most points on any
Dunga, Tiller, Council, they were all great. That's
outside of Richie Sanders. Yeah, it felt like Bryson was lights out. I mean, he caught the ball. There was one possession where I was watching, turned, shot like it was nothing, and made. I was like, okay, Bryson Tiller's like that. Like I think we do forget how talented this talent. Like Darren is so good that he elevates himself, and as you guys said, it is easy for what he does. Like if an NBA player played in college, this is what it would kind of look like. The surrounding talent that they have is very, very good in terms of the entire piece of the puzzle, where even without Darren, they were still able to kind of figure it out and kind of have done over the course of the season so far in the time that he hasn't played.
This is like something Bill Self has said before, but like you could see pretty quick. The building became pretty intimidating. The atmosphere was out through the roof, and then BYU fell behind. But Self has said this before, Drew, which is, Allen Fieldhouse, you have to play at Allen Fieldhouse. But then when you get past the, it's Allen Fieldhouse and it's a raucous environment stuff, you start to play Kansas, the basketball team. And it turns out they just got, nothing but 5-star recruits, 1 through 5.
Bryson Tiller, I mean, he's somebody that, in this day and age of NIL and everything, he's going to be there for a couple of years. So he's going to eventually be one of the household star names if you're a Kansas fan, and I think just for college basketball, because he's starting to come on, but he's not somebody that's jumping to the NBA after 1 year. He's going to be there for a year or two. So that's the exciting thing about what they're starting to get from Bryson Tiller. All right, let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
Random question today brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold, you, Drew, text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, where we live stream the show every single day, all 4 hours, actually all 12 hours between the morning show and the afternoon. Like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and the other, and get our exclusive video content, where, again, we put the show on. I'm going to have you play a piece of audio for me, Drew, and then Gold, and then I will have a question that follows. This was Rick Barnes after his team, Tennessee, did not play particularly well in a game this weekend, and then said something I think he regretted.
I mean, at the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, I mean, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but, erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. I mean, because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad... I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
okay,
that's not good.
The question I have, we can talk about that audio and its individual right. The question I would like the text line to answer, 913-586-7965, is what is the last ill-timed or inappropriate joke you made that left you feeling awkward in the moment? Because you could hear it the second Rick Barnes said it. Oh, Gold. And then he said it like old man doesn't know how computer work. Just erase that. Can you guys just all delete that? Can we all just agree to delete the fact that I said my players played so bad that maybe they're fixing games, which is genuinely the worst joke you could make as a head coach? Does it get worse than that? Like in the active college basketball landscape? And talk about your players fixing games?
Not great. Not a thing that any head coach should be saying publicly for sure. Last thing, I don't know, it wasn't a joke, but I mean, it's the obvious one. It's why we have drops on this show. I mean, usually that kind of stuff happens on the show. It's the whole Tennessee cities thing. I mean, it's stuff like that. That's probably the last time.
Or like when Dusty
that
made
wouldn't even try to make a joke. That just,
saying
Tennessee cities.
That one's pretty bad.
Yeah, I witnessed one, Dusty. I witnessed that one in person,
Like and I try to be better about it, but I've made some ill-timed jokes. I think the most recent one was probably like, as you know, I got a dark sense of humor. And so like I've made like dead mom jokes at people to try to make them uncomfortable. And it was probably inside the last year, Gold, that I made a joke like that in a mixed group of people to try to make a couple of people that I did know uncomfortable, only to find out that somebody else's parent had died somewhat recently. And you're like, oh, this is just... And I didn't know that. They told me that after that, but it got really awkward because the other people in the group knew it, Drew, and I didn't. And then it made me... And that sucks because sometimes you think a joke is safe.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, just a normal joke I'd make under normal circumstances. And then you find yourself in a really awkward moment.
No, 100%. I can't think of. I'm sure I've obviously done it too.
You don't strike me as someone who tries to make a joke in a setting in which you do not know that the joke is going to land.
No, yeah,
like family or very close friends.
I mean, yeah. If it's like my family or I'm sure. When I was in Florida with my brother and sister, I'm sure at some point, something came up or I said something. But
I mean,
I try.
Dusty's been the most likely to get in trouble with this in the station lately.
I mean, Drew, just on Friday.
The nuttiness that you talked about is definitely
there. Do you think Rick Barnes actually thinks his players are betting?
No,
on basketball.
He's just frustrated.
I don't think so.
He just said it. He realized I was dumb, but
because certainly some college basketball players have,
for sure.
There have been some violations of that here recently. But you don't think he actually thinks his players are betting, right?
I mean,
that was bad
would
at
be,
basketball.
It would be kind of crazy if that actually came out. That actually
it was a bad example. You guys remember? You guys
just say like the Monstars stole their talent or something. You guys, even if it's a dated reference, at least people understand. Like
that they're not.
It's a joke.
I took it as like in today's day and age. Yeah, that's not the comparison you want to make. But you guys remember Barry Henson? You guys remember Barry Henson, the whole where he's like, my mom could, whatever it was like, my mom could make, or my wife could make those shots better. I viewed it as the same frustration. He just used betting as a terrible example instead of just saying, my wife could have made that pass, because that was the whole thing that Barry Henson was talking about with the free throws. I thought we had the clip in the system. We used to. I don't know where it's at. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
No, I know it.
Yeah.
I know what clip you're talking about, but I don't know if it's in the system. I know exactly what you're talking about. Someone said in high school they made like a yo mama joke to somebody whose mom had just passed away. You got to be real careful with stuff like that. I mean, really careful. Now people are just mentioning Sean McDermott referring to his team as terrorist.
Well, that wasn't good.
He was trying to use terrorism as a motivational tool.
Yeah, he didn't
but
say.
happened to use the terrorist working together as the example.
He just said, look at their team.
That wasn't a joke.
Yeah, his whole thing was, how much teamwork they used in their strategy, and they worked together to collaborate, and he was trying to tie it back to his football team.
And this one's tough. For Nate 16, totally forgot my wife's stepmom got back home from spending some time in a facility and offered her an alcoholic beverage. Everybody was looking at them like, what are you doing?
That's pretty bad.
She handled it well, it sounds like.
I feel like, in my experience, anybody who's gone through the program, they don't usually make you feel all that bad for it. Like, I think if I accidentally, offered a drink to somebody who'd been through, normally they're relatively like, no, thank you. I don't think they normally make you feel terrible about it, do they?
No, yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't think so. But I will say, other people around you be like, well, like, if you didn't know, or if you forgot.
Yeah.
Similar to your story, Cody, everybody's looking at you like, what are you doing?
It's
like, I don't know.
Getting stuck, I just leave. I don't like awkward situations.
You would straight up just be out of there?
I'd just be like, well, is that, Alex? Hold on, Alex is calling me. You got to get out. You got to make something
Everybody
up.
knows what you're doing at that point,
Look,
too.
They all want to sit around there and gossip about the thing you messed up on anyway. So just give them the opportunity to get it out of their system. You get the hell out of there because it's uncomfortable for everybody, and move on with your life. Gold, you're pretty safe. You're not not in a mixed company setting, you don't often say something that could be risky. I'm more guilty of that of the two of us.
For sure.
But it's like, and even still, I limit it somewhat. I might joke with Roxanne I might joke with our big boss about arson in this terrible building, but that's about the worst that I do.
I do think you have hit the nail on the head though, that if anybody were to do it, it's Dusty. I think that's the number one overall pick.
He knows that.
Yeah, 100%.
He knows that. That's not breaking any news. He would acknowledge that.
Well, I just feel bad, Feels like we're calling him out. He can't defend himself in this exact.
He will tomorrow. He has 4 hours tomorrow to defend himself.
He has 4 hours. Let's just do should we at some point, because it's off season, the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. At some point, we'll do 96.5 the fan superlatives, and we'll do most likely to blank, and we can all do a couple of little votes on.
I like that.
Even if it's just social media or whatever. Most likely to say an inappropriate joke to the boss. Most likely to not have their own equipment. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm referencing obviously 2 specific moments now in the show. We can make them less targeted at one specific person and more generalized. I don't care. It could be most likely to knit a sweater, but let's just do superlatives and figure out, where you land. What do you think you're most likely to be lumped into there, Drew?
I would say most likely to, I don't know, it would have to be something that it would like that's too nice, like sell your couch to somebody, like along those lines. It'd have to follow the storyline of that.
Most likely to give somebody money for your own couch?
Yeah. So it would have
too
to be
specific, Gold.
Being too kind to somebody, essentially. I'm not that closed off from the rest of society.
What was that cut from?
I don't remember, actually. I had a few inches to spare.
There's been a lot of good drops in this show the last 2 months. Mm-hmm. Some dangerous ones, too.
My lips would be sore afterwards. That's not about playing the trumpet. I remember that. I do remember
Really?
that. Yes.
That's what that one was about?
Yeah, we were talking about playing instruments. And if I could play the trumpet again now, after a long time not.
I don't even remember that conversation. We talked about you playing the trumpet on the show.
It was something about musical instruments, and
Was
I said
I here?
I used to play the trumpet. Yeah.
That was back
Maybe.
in October, it looked like.
Was I gone that day?
Maybe Bink was in. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it very well could have been.
Bink
That.
also has
Excuse me?
a beat machine.
Anyway, I could do this all day. I could just
We literally could
I could
make a
just
segment out of just
play
the
drops the rest of
that
the
we
show.
have.
That would be bad radio, but also funny at the same time.
It's fun for all parties involved. Did you end up? You couldn't go to the. You didn't go to the Kansas game because you went to a birthday party.
I was on the air for my weekend show till noon, and then one of my really good friends, best friends since high school, and I'm very close with their family and stuff. His kid had his birthday, and so I met with him. Four, right? Four, three, four. Oh my gosh, four.
They call you Uncle Alex?
Uncle Goldie.
Uncle Goldie.
Yeah, well, because people in high school call
very
me
specific.
People call me Goldie in high school, so that's
So
yeah.
Uncle Goldie,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
And you just stuck with that one?
Yeah,
I mean, it
that's
is what
fine.
it is. It's a
That's
kid.
fine. But again, only people that call me that really is people going back to high school days. Like,
Yeah,
nobody,
small selection group of
yeah.
people. that
Most
call-
people just call me Gold. Like most people just like that's just what people say. But Goldie was a high school thing for sure.
Okay. I didn't know.
But yeah, other than that, this
What'd
week,
you get him?
I asked ahead of time, like his
okay.
dad, and I was like, "Hey, what's he into?" And Hot Wheels, so easy. So I was like, "Well, then how do I know he doesn't have the same one?" Turns out I got the right Hot Wheels thing that he did not have. It was like some F1 drag racing Hot Wheel thing. So
Sounds cool.
hopefully it works.
It was
yeah.
so we both had birthday parties. My grandpa turned 96 late last week.
Yep.
So
That's
it's-
amazing.
Yeah, incredible. So like middle last week, late last week. So on Saturday we did like the birthday party for him. And so like we were all sitting around and a text exchange is like, is anybody like, are we getting him something? Because it's nice to give people gifts on their birthday, but also who needs stuff, right? When you're 96 years old, you pretty much have everything you need.
That's true. Yeah.
Sure.
In the stuff department. I'm not kidding. Maybe like 4 people got him a present. Every single person who brought something, it was a bottle of whiskey. Does that make us bad people?
I mean, look, at this point, if that's what he wants, and he's 96, you said, like,
got him a bottle of whiskey. Like, you know what?
it is true.
Drink
What else
up,
are you going to get? What are you
Grandpa.
going to give him? New clothes? At this point, he's like, whatever I got, I'm good to go, right?
I'm not getting new clothes at 96.
That's what I'm saying.
Not unless I have to. I'm
don't
not
know what
unless
else
I'm
you-
forced to. So everyone just got him whiskey.
Does
That
he
seemed
have-
like,
yeah, that seems like you would.
I mean, he'll drink it. It will get consumed.
Does he go out to
eventually.
eat still and stuff, or no?
Every once
Because
in a
otherwise,
while.
I would say,
Like a restaurant gift card. There's a place around the corner. He still sees some friends once a week and get some lunch. So you could have done it to that specific restaurant, but the whiskey felt right. I told you, man, after 90 years old, I'm not policing any of your behavior at that point. Like, short of I'm not going to let you murder somebody, but outside of that, go nuts.
Like
you know?
how when he what was it? He asked for a barbecue. He
asked for a
asked
barbecue
a
sandwich.
from a certain place. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah, and a milkshake. And like, even though he was at the time in the hospital for some unknown, maybe heart-related issues, and they probably didn't want him having a barbecue beef sandwich from Gates, a beef on bun from Gates, and a milkshake. Stop me, hospital.
People are asking, what did you get him? Did you get him some Rieger? What did you get him?
It was all over the place. He drinks a particular type of whiskey without giving, I guess, free advertisement to the brand. That was the most common one, but it was a good mix. He likes a good mix. Nothing on like the upper end. He likes like a good mix.
Yeah, you didn't bring a bottle of Pappy or whatever. Yeah.
If he makes it to 100, maybe I will get a
There
bottle
you
of
go.
Pappy. We'll chip in and we'll drink the good stuff. 100 years old? I actually think we should at that point. He also is like very dark sense of humor about it, 96. So like, he's like, I'll see if I see you next year. I'm like, hey, relax. I like you being around. We don't have to be making jokes.
Dumb question. Does he still drive?
He only recently stopped.
So he was still driving even at like a year or two ago?
95 years old, he was driving. He used to drive around the corner and pick up his medicines or go to the restaurant. So up until like the last 6 months, I would say, he would still occasionally drive and had a license. But I think that's officially done.
Yeah, probably best.
Great run, though.
That's a hell of a run, yeah.
95. I mean, he probably got his license at 16 back in the 1946. He probably got his license at 15, 16 years old. He's probably been driving for 80 years. So he had a hell of a run.
I think that would scare me if I was driving at 95. Like for everybody involved. Like that would be
the people on the road,
yeah,
all that
everybody,
stuff.
family, all of it. Like that would freak me out a little bit.
I mean, I get it because you don't want him to hurt himself or other people or anything else.
Yeah.
It was very short drives, and it's been a long time now. Or it's not been a long time, but he's out the game.
That's also tough though. Once you take away take away the keys at that point. That's tough. Like that's your freedom, right? Your
Bancroft
independence and all that.
He's got to make it to at least June because I got to there's going to be another Bancroft name. It'll be his great-great-grandchild.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Great-great-grandchild?
That's really cool.
Nuts.
That is the random question of the day. Up next, let's talk some Royals baseball. Jake Eisenberg, of course, Royals broadcaster. He was at Royals Rally. We'll discuss the start of spring training right around the corner, what stood out from him over at Royals Rally. Next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Tune in for the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day, starting at 11:30 right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I, like a lot of people, before you found out your T level at Synergen X and Low T Center, weren't sure maybe why you weren't feeling the same or maybe the workouts weren't the same. Look, a lot of people don't even realize testosterone was a thing until you find out, maybe after you turn 40, like I did, or other people, that maybe it's just not the same. Find out where your T level is over at Synergen X and Low T Center and find out why other people have continued to go them for their personalized TRT treatment plan. That's because they individualize it to you, making sure that you're taken care of and feel comfortable with either at-home treatment or something with one of their on-site labs. It all starts with a free TRT test at their center anyway. Less than 20 minutes with an on-site lab. No waiting for days like other places. And with their new mobile app, it's even easier to meet with the provider through those telehealth appointments and have those follow-up appointments, medication reminders, and so much more to make sure that it is super convenient for you. If you've been wondering what's not felt right, don't wait any longer and start getting that treatment now with that free TRT test that is normally, or if you're on the lady side as well, they'll take care of you with a hormone test that's usually $99 or so, usually quite a bit more expensive, now quite a bit less over there as well. So TRT test free, walk in or book your appointment today. Just do that at getmyhealthfix.com. That's getmyhealthfix.com.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door if it isn't ready. Let Overhead Door Company of Kansas City come out and perform their 14-point tune-up on the garage door and 12-point tune-up on the opener. One price covers 3 garage doors and openers. The work is guaranteed. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Trusted here since 1927. Call now to schedule your garage door tune-up, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com. ohdkc.com.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a lot more. And I completely agree. That's why I'll pay more for your car at GiveMeTheVin.com. That's the name of our new campaign. I'm worth more. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and that's why I will pay more. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100 at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Last call for football. FanDuel's giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today's 30% profit boost is on passing yards, over, under, and alternate passing yards. So maybe Drake May to throw under 222.5 passing yards. Think about Sam Darnold. Maybe he's going to throw over his total, 227.5. Or you think it's too high, you could use an alternate line of 200 or more passing yards. All you have to do is opt in each day, place an eligible bet to use that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in early lines, riding your favorite props, or taking one last swing before the final whistle, FanDuel's giving everyone something extra to cheer for during football's final week. Play your game with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Spicy Menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Presented by Robinhood.
He crosses, spins, pulls up.
With Robinhood Prediction Markets, buy or sell your predictions all game long. No house odds, just you versus the market. Put your sports IQ to work. Trade every shot, block, steal, run, and moment that shifts the game. With Robinhood Prediction Markets, trade every play. Visit Robinhood.com/predict to start trading. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all your favorite shows, shorts, and clips. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. A little bit later on in the hour, we will get back into Mark Turgeon, the next men's basketball coach at Kansas City for the Roos. Had a great conversation with him earlier today. Certainly you can sense the excitement. What convinced him to jump out of retirement? I think he said, I had mastered retirement, but had some good conversations and obviously it all came together. Our next guest has some connection there, at least going back a ways as a broadcaster. Jake Eisenberg. We can get into Mark Turgeon in a second, but I actually want to talk some Royals baseball and well-traveled Jake Eisenberg, it turns out. Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you were all over the world for the last couple of months. Am I wrong? You in Morocco?
Yeah, I was in Morocco with my wife. We were there for a week, and I might be the first person to go from Marrakesh to Morgantown in the span of a week. I don't know if that's a combination that's pretty common, but yeah.
Culturally, how different are those places, Jake? Are they pretty different culturally?
Could not be more different, but that's the beauty of the world, isn't it? Getting to explore all these places. No, it's been a well-traveled off season. It's been a good balance of travel and family time and quality time and a good amount of nothing. And now I'm ready for something. I'm ready for some baseball. I'm excited to get down to Surprise in a couple of weeks and get hopefully some warmer weather down there because it's been brutal the last few days here, huh?
Yeah, you'll be in the warm weather here soon enough. I also happened to see when you were sharing the link to you're going to be on the show that you covered Mark Turgeon, or at least called some games for him.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that a decade ago that Turgeon and I would be back in the same place? He was the head coach at the University of Maryland while I was there as a student. I was there from 2013 to 2017. Obviously, he was there until 2021. But yeah, the games that I called for the student radio station, WMUC Sports, were his Maryland Terrapins that went to the Sweet 16 in 2016 and lost to Kansas that year, made the NCAA tournament that next year as well. So yeah, good memories covering Turge. And the Turgeonites, that's something you'll have to ask him about. There was a student group in Maryland that used to dye one spot of their hair gray like he used to have. I don't want to call him out, but I think I saw a picture. I think he might be a little bit more fully gray now, but it was great to hear about, him being excited to come back to KC and hopefully coming out to the K, and we'll have to link up a couple of Terps.
Turgeonites. Okay. Cody, there you go. There's your student section.
We're learning some stuff. Well, we got to create our own thing, I'll get the students on board. I actually think
Cody, I heard you're donating your salary.
Okay,
isn't that nice, Jake? I think it's really smart.
Can you bully people into charity? Is that how this works?
Yes, actually. Pressure, a lot of times at a lot of these events and stuff, there's a lot of pressure. That's usually how it goes.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Jake, let's talk a little bit about where the Royals are, and I guess start with the news over the weekend that was Vinny Pasquantino getting a deal. For the obvious reasons, it's security for him, and the Royals don't have to go to those meetings for the next couple of years. I think it's important for teams to take care of leaders and homegrown guys even more so than just anyone else that you might be dealing with. And in his case, I've always viewed him as one of the more vocal leaders on the team, especially because Bobby is a watch what I do type of player and less of the verbal type sometimes. And so for Vinny, what did you make of them figuring out a 2-year contract for him?
I mean, couldn't be happier for Vinny and his family, and it's obviously well-deserved, especially after the year that he just had. I know this is something that gives him more security. He still preserves that ARB 3 years, so he still has a chance to, have a significant jump a couple of years from now, and I think that was part of the discussion. To me, it strikes me as very, very similar, almost identical in terms of the thought process in what the Royals did with Cole Reagans, is they chew up a couple of those ARB years, they get some security, they get some payroll stability also. Like now kind of what your payroll is going to be with regards to those players for the next couple of years. And those players still have the chance to do ARB3 and still get to free agency, when those big paydays happen. So this is a great thing all around. And I don't know, I've been reflecting on this offseason and really even going back to kind of midway through last year. And this is kind of the era of the extension for the Royals. You go back to February of 2024 with Bobby Witt Jr. That was obviously a landmark extension for the franchise. But then since then, you have Seth Lugo's extension midway through the year last year. I know Michael Wacha, technically that's a free agent, but you can think of that as an extension as well. But now you've got extensions for Michael Garcia, incredibly deserved. You've got extensions for Cole Reagans, incredibly deserved. You've got extensions for now Vinny Pasquantino, and of course Salvador Perez with his 2-year extension. And who could forget Mac Quatrero as well? So everybody's getting extended, and that keeps the entire core of this team together and stable. And as you heard this weekend, I mean, this is a postseason caliber roster. I don't think there's any question about that. And I also don't think there's any question that that's the expectation.
No question. Yeah, it absolutely is. Playoffs are bust, I think, for most fans, as it should be, and the organization heading in to the season. We're talking with Jake Eisenberg here on 96.5 The Fan. You mentioned Cole Reagans. I know the ability to represent your country, of course, is something that is what a lot of baseball players in the WBC want to have the ability to do. Cole Reagans, though, J.J. Picola mentioning over the weekend, had an opportunity for Team USA, but has chosen to go to spring training and go through the proper, rev up to the season and all that. I think as a Royals fan, you should love hearing that he is locked in for opening day here in 2026 when he very easily could have gotten played in the WBC.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes sense for Cole. It obviously makes sense for the Royals. He was not happy, obviously, with how last year went. It was only 10 starts, and boy, were they 10 really fun starts with the strikeout numbers. But obviously the goal is 30-plus starts and, getting up near 200 innings, kind of like we saw him do in 2024 when he started, game one of the playoffs. I mean, I also think you look at the flip side, and, Cole is as talented a pitcher as they come, but you also look at the pitchers that Team USA has on their roster, and you think about the WBC schedule, and yeah, Paul Skeens is going to pitch, and Tarek Skubal's going to pitch, and Logan Webb's going to pitch, and obviously so would Cole Reagans if he were on that roster. But those games might have been fewer and further between, and those innings would have been fewer and further between, and it makes it difficult to ramp up. We kind of saw that with Brady Singer a few years ago in the WBC when that schedule of ramping up during spring training got adjusted a little bit. So really excited to see Cole in camp and see him progress the way we know he can.
Look, I don't know that this just felt like it was one of the reasons they used to use as an excuse during the regular season that comes with it. But this slow start stuff, this has been like the team. And I view it as for a while they'd be like, well, can't hit homers in April at Kauffman Stadium. They're moving the fences in. So that's one less, just excuse looming over or whatever it is. I mean, from their perspective, a fast start feels more important than ever. Just knowing they were in the playoffs a couple of years ago, Vinny's openly talked about how poorly his April went. It just feels like they got to figure out a way to not at least be stable during that month.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we saw, this team dug itself a hole that can be really hard to dig yourself out of. And the more your backs go up against the wall, the less margin for error that you have. I do want to make one point about the fences being moved in. Look, it will help run production when it comes to home runs. Kauffman Stadium will still be a ballpark that, as far as home run production, will still be below average in baseball. This is not going to a launching pad all of a sudden, and it's still going to be 40 or 50 degrees, 60 degrees, hopefully, in April. So this is not as if, we're going to get to the K, come early April and all of a sudden see the ball flying out of the yard. We're going to see more home runs to those gaps than we've seen in years past, but it is still going to be an environment that is not as friendly to home runs as, Coors Field or Great American Ballpark or, some of the more, home run friendly ballparks that we see around the country. I do love that the fences are coming in. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the kinds of impacts those alleyways, those power alleys have on the way, the game plays, and also what the defensive impact might be. I think that's going to be fascinating to see unfold.
We're talking to Jake Eisenberg here on 96.5 The Fan. I know there's still a lot that could happen before opening day. Heck, spring training hasn't started. But what do you make of the AL Central? We know how competitive it was a year ago and the run that the Guardians were able to go on late in the season. I know Skubal's got arbitration coming up. What do you think this AL Central is going to be like? Do you expect to be just as competitive?
Yeah, I think the AL Central the last few years, at least the years that I've been here, has always been pretty competitive at the top, and then you've had one or two teams that have kind of been toward the bottom end of the entire league in baseball, whether it's been the White Sox the last couple of years. Obviously, the Twins kind of fell off a cliff in the second half last season, and it's been the Royals and Guardians and Tigers that have kind of been in and around the mix. And the last couple of years, it's been which team stays healthiest and which team, gets hottest in September. And last year, well, it was the Guardians that got hottest in September. And, it seems like they figure out how to do that every year with their pitching. And the Royals were among the healthiest in 2024, but the Tigers were a little bit too strong that year. So I think it's going to be those three teams once again in the mix. And I do think it's going to come down to, once again, which team stays the healthiest, which team can sustain success, toward the tail end of the season when you're chasing that division title. And it might also come down to which of those teams makes the moves that they need to make come the trade deadline. I do think it's interesting. You look around the American League Central, and I don't necessarily, this might be bold, but on paper, no team has gotten better this offseason than the Royals, I don't think. In terms of additions, subtractions, XYZ. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Skubal's arbitration case on Wednesday and how that all unfolds. But it's not as if that the Tigers have made, splashy signings. Obviously, the Guardians have locked up Jose Ramirez, but he was already there. I think the Royals have made some really savvy additions, both via trade and free agency. And while necessarily the free agency dollar amount isn't the highest, it doesn't have to be, especially when you consider extensions. But trading for Matt Strahm and Isaac Collins and Nick Mears, I mean, these are, I think, pretty impactful moves when you place them around the players that already exist.
When you look at the Tarik Skubal thing, man, I mean, I don't think I can rule out that he's not a Tiger week one of the Major League Baseball season. I feel like if this, and I don't know how this hearing's going to go, they're $13 million apart, Jake, but depending on how that hearing goes, I'm not sure how interested Skubal's going to be in remaining a Tiger.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that or how it all unfolds, but there's obviously been, smoke about Tarik Skubal being traded. And look, if he's traded to somebody that's not in the American League Central, that would obviously be, you'd think, kind of helpful in not having to face the best pitcher in the game, 4 or 5 times a year. I will say that, just anecdotally, I haven't dug into it, but the Royals have actually done pretty well against Skubal, at least in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have. Weirdly better than most teams.
Weirdly better than most teams, and, they did sign Lane Thomas, a guy who hit a winner-take-all, go-ahead grand slam off him in the playoffs a couple of years ago. So there is that, little piece in there, too. Look, that's all to say that, whether Tarik Skubal is on the Tigers or not is not necessarily going to be the defining thing of whether or not the Royals will be better than the Tigers in the division. All I'm saying is that the Royals very much have the pieces to be the American League Central champions this year. And that is certainly a goal for this team, much like it was last year.
You look at you obviously watch almost every single team in baseball over a calendar year. So you got a good look at everybody. And without naming specific players, I was trying to explain it to fans in general. It is hard to describe the level of play they got in the corner outfields compared to the rest of Major League Baseball. As in, what they did this offseason is a noticeable and clear upgrade, even if it wasn't the star numbers they were looking for in the corner. They are likely to get far more production out of the corner than they did, or the corners than they did last year, right?
Absolutely. And I think that, probably is counting on Jack Caglione to take a strong step forward, which I know the Royals are very optimistic that he can. Isaac Collins was just 4th in Rookie of the Year voting last year and playing a pretty solid left field for the Brewers. So that's an immediate upgrade in left field. And Kyle Isbell quietly had a really, really good season, not just defensively, but offensively too at the bottom of the lineup. I really enjoy his game at the bottom of the lineup and what he brings to the table. Lane Thomas is a really solid bounce back candidate. He was injury plagued last year, but it's only a couple of years ago. We're talking about a guy who was a 2020 guy. I think it'll be a bounce back season for Michael Massey too, wherever he fits in on the roster positionally. I do think it's also worth talking about the fact that while the outfield production was, among the worst in the league, the infield production was among the best in the league. I mean, the disparity was off the charts, and the Royals still have, I think, open and shut, probably the most productive infield in baseball between, Salvi and Vinny and Bobby and Michael, and, hopefully Jonathan India is a bounce back candidate at second base as well. Obviously you'd like the infield production to continue to stay the same, but if the average can go, or the outfield can go from the below average production that it was last year to even average production, I mean, that is a big step forward for an offense that I think we should remember, guys, was much, much improved in the second half of the season.
Jake, good to talk with you as always, man. Glad to see the trip to Morocco was good. Did you have mint tea? What was the biggest, cuisine or thing that you had to try that we should all try?
Oh, yeah. Everywhere you go, you get served mint tea. They offer it to you. It is a sign of respect to accept that and drink it. And it was pretty good most of the time. Their national dish basically is called tagine. It's basically kind of like a chicken stew with lemon and olives. Very, very good. Very easy to make. We might try it at home at some point. Overall, just a pretty incredible country, pretty incredible cultural experience, and really glad that it was something that we were able to do.
Jake Eisenberg, Royals broadcaster. Appreciate it, man. We'll hear from you out in spring training.
All right, sounds good, guys.
There you go. That's Jake Eisenberg. I didn't want to put him on the spot. Wherever he'll be, not only on 96.5 The Fan, but on
we can talk more about it tomorrow.
TV or
probably going to be there based
something
on
like that. Is what it,
and some other places.
What it seems like. Yeah. No, Morocco. That's an
cool.
interesting trip. That's really like he mentioned the mint tea. I know like couscous is really good and that's popular there too. I've had that multiple times a year, but I've
had mint tea.
And you've had what did he say? Was it the chicken dish?
I haven't had the chicken dish.
Tagine?
Yeah.
Tajin or Tajin? Sorry.
Tajin is what it sounded like
okay.
you said it.
Yeah.
I was imagining it spelled like tahine, the spice.
Tajai.
Watermelon or whatever.
That's what I was maybe getting confused with.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
probably what
thinking. Tagi or Tajines.
Yeah, that's spelled like tahine, the
Yeah.
spice. It's spelled a similar way. So
But anyway.
maybe it's spice.
I saw his photos. He was riding camels in the desert and everything. Looked amazing.
While we were on break, the Chiefs made a huge signing.
Oh, boy. Really?
No. The Chiefs are signing quarterback Jake Haener. The former
the
fourth-round
Saint?
pick
The Saint?
of the Saints was on the practice squad at the end of the season. His contract expired. He chose to head to Kansas City.
Yeah, he lost out on that QB battle with Rattler.
Oladoka lose his spot? No longer.
Have some
He's not a
other guys.
real choice at backup,
No,
right?
I don't think so. He's just another body to have around.
He posted a photo of a snowy covered Arrowhead practice facility that just said "New Beginnings."
Good for him.
And then added Nico Remigio and Jalen Watson. Maybe they're tight. I don't know why those two. They go to college or something together?
Washington State and Washington connection, maybe. I don't know.
Fresno State is where Jake Haener went.
Also went to
Close. All in that
also
area.
went to Washington, Drew. He went to both.
Oh, did he?
But yeah, I don't know. He went, Washington first and then Fresno State, it looks like. He finished at Fresno State. Maybe he didn't play.
Yeah, he was drafted out of Fresno State.
Maybe he never played at Washington. He went to Washington. I don't know if he threw a pass. Actually, ironically enough, Haener, 4 games as a backup too.
I don't know.
Jake Browning in Washington. Your guy.
Jake Browning made a college football playoff.
Jake Browning, yeah. Jake Browning. Anyway, and then he transferred Drew to Fresno
He
State.
has started 1 game and played in 18 of 39 in his career. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. This feels like
This
Chris
is in the NFL?
I got to say,
Yeah.
feels like Oladokin's on the outs.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, that doesn't really, at this point,
I don't care.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
fine.
Jake Haener's mom was a longtime TV anchor in Oakland, California.
Okay.
The more you know, man. The more. Did you think we'd ever be talking about that today? When you woke up today, Jake Haener and his mom being a TV anchor.
Can't say that was very high on my list. No. Pretty low on my list, if we're being honest, of possible things I would know.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. Okay.
Who knew that he was he backed up Jake Browning. So he's worse than Jake Browning. Couldn't even start over him. By that same argument, by the way. Tom Brady be worse than Chad Henne. We know that that's just not accurate. I just like to pretend like that somehow that makes a difference, what he did outside of that. All right, welcome Jake Haener, I guess. Tell him where to go get barbecue.
We'll see him in St. Joe.
Yeah, probably. You think he'll make it that long? Sometimes these practice squad
no
signings
idea.
in February don't,
No clue.
they don't stick all the way through to training camp.
Look, they're in big trouble if he has to take snaps either way. And that's not even a shot at him, just in general. Things went really, really poorly if he's playing football next year for the Chiefs, as in actually in a regular season game. Things went really, really bad. The same thing we would have said if Chris Oladokin is throwing passes.
And it turns out that was accurate.
And it was
Chris
really-
Oladokin
it
did throw
was- it was
passes,
really bad.
and that was very bad. Just so bad for so many reasons. But at least we got there. Look, Jake had a lot of good stuff to say about the team, and I've continued to, because Gold, we get into this all the time, not you and I, just it is easy to look at a team and be like, look at all the ways they could be better. I'm just telling you right now, they cannot be worse in the corner outfield than they were last year. That is not an area in which they are likely to, or we got to be They will automatically be better in left and right field than they were last year.
The question
they
is,
cannot be worse there. They can be worse in other areas.
Yeah.
They can be worse in the infield or what else. They cannot be worse in the outfield.
As we've said over and over, I think they made some really smart decisions to incrementally get better in the outfield. To what extent? That's what's up for debate. And I'm a little more hesitant, based on what they have not done in the outfield. They did not make the bigger splash. I know the offseason's not over yet, so things could certainly change, although we'll see. I think, John Sherman acknowledged at Royals Rally that, if there's somebody out there, but look, that's always seemingly so obvious. Like, yes, if the right fit comes across, we'll make the move. Well,
and they
sure.
did it with Estevez, so they've got a little bit of a history of doing that if needed.
If that happens, they'll make another move. I don't know if it'll be an outfielder, though. I do like Collins. I do like Lane Thomas as a bounce-back type of player. And yes, they will be better, but I still think there's massive questions there, right? You can acknowledge that they're going to be better, but that's more about how bad it was than it is your confidence in who they went out and got. And that's, I think, where there's some frustration. They did not do anything to me, ensure, Cody, that the outfield is not going to be a story this year. There's a chance it's not a story because Lane Thomas bounces back, but there's also a real good chance that we're like, yeah, it's better, but it still is one of the worst.
Marginally better, and it's one. Yeah, what's crazy, though, is had they been the 20th worst corner outfield, left and right field, that's a playoff team. Like, I mean, legit, like, that was the one absolute Achilles heel. They could play infield offense. They could pitch. They had a good bullpen. They were a stable team other than they had the worst corner outfield historically in Royals history, by the way. The worst left and right field production they've ever gotten. And so, like, in all the ways they can be worse in the starting pitching. We might have gotten too comfortable there. They can be worse in the bullpen. They can be worse in other areas. They can be better in other areas. There is an argument on either side depending on how optimistic you want to be or not be or all this other stuff, right? But in the outfield, to me, it's inarguable to be better. To what level? I'll hear out, Gold, right? Because it is still just Lane Thomas and Isaac Collins and hoping Jack Caglione gets better. It might only be marginally better, but it's going to be better. It just can't be worse. MJ Melinda, how many games did MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe start? Was it Renfroe? I can't remember who's in the outfield last year. It was so bad for so long.
Yep. I was getting confused. You're thinking Dozier, but it was Renfroe. It was
Hunter Renfroe played games for the Royals last year.
Yes, and remember, and I don't know how it ultimately result, but I don't think either of those guys are signed with any baseball team.
No,
currently.
Hunter Renfroe played in 35 games for the Royals before being DFA
and never got touched.
182 and no homers, 6 doubles.
And MJ is just a free agent right now.
Yeah. Look, Hunter Renfroe is never going to play. I mean, I don't know what to say. He's never going to play a game again. MJ
My
Melendez
guess is during spring training, somebody will sign him to a non-roster. Could he turn out to be a non-roster invitee type of situation and see what happens?
It's so crazy. They played a combined 60 games for this team. MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe. They combined for negative 2.5 WAR in just 50 games. Gold, which is or 60 games, which is insane. Yeah. They hit a combined 105 with a 161 on base percentage. I mean, it just and it didn't get better they got rid of them and then they just started playing Nick Lofton. And I mean, it didn't get better. It got worse actively for a while. And I like Lofton as a guy, but it's just it got worse.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending. Plus, earlier today, the new men's basketball coach at Kansas City, the Roos, Mark Turgeon, joined us. We asked him, why UMKC? Why now? And what they need to see with that program moving forward. That's coming up next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Last call for football. FanDuel's giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today's 30% profit boost is on passing yards over under and those alternate passing yards. So Drake May, maybe to throw under 225.5 yards. Maybe you think Sam Darnold throws over 227.5, but not sure. Feels a little too high. You could consider using an alternate line of 200 or more passing yards. All you have to do is opt in each day, place an eligible bet to use that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in early lines, you're riding your favorite props, or you're taking one last swing before the final whistle, FanDuel's giving everyone something extra to cheer for during football's final week. Play your game with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue sauce and seasonings. Gates seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice delivers real improvements, more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
It's the last call for football, and FanDuel is giving you a daily profit boost every single day leading up to the big game. Today's 30% profit boost is a passing yards over-under and alternate passing yards. So if you think it's a defense-first type of Super Bowl, and maybe Sam Darnold is going to go under, or Drake May, who has not had a good postseason, is going to go under, today is your day. All you have to do is opt in each day and place an eligible bet to use on that day's profit boost. So whether you're locking in early lines, riding your favorite props, or taking one last big swing before the final whistle, FanDuel is giving everyone something to cheer for during football's final week. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports book of Super Bowl 60 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I love spending time outside at our house, but I noticed some paint was starting to peel. So I called CertaPro Painters to give us a fresh touch-up. We use CertaPro Painters inside and out at our place, and you should do the same. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. So schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Report brought to you by Miva Medical. Relief for knee pain, enlarged prostate, and uterine fibroids. MivaMedical.com.
Start the new year feeling comfortable. Men, if frequent bathroom trips are slowing you down, it could be an enlarged prostate. Jeff Montgomery here. I stopped putting it off and contacted Dr. Brown at Miva Medical. The non-surgical treatment was quick and covered by insurance. Contact Miva Medical, MIVA-medical.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
Number one on what's trending, a minor move for the Chiefs today, reportedly, signing quarterback Jake Haener, the former fourth-round pick of the Saints. He was on the practice squad to end the season. He lost out on the QB job at the beginning of the year when they were battling with Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. His contract expired. He chose to head to Kansas City, so perhaps he could be a quarterback during training camp.
Or their practice squad guy this year, depending on how they feel about Oladokin. Certainly plausible. Obviously a minor signing, but a signing all the same. Next up on What's Trending, Sean McVay and Les Snead both got signed contract extensions today with the Rams. Sean McVay and his press availability this week, somewhere on radio, I don't know who he's talking to, did say he's hopeful, he hopes that Matt Stafford will return next season. I'm sure he does, as he is the head coach of the Rams, and their best chance to win is with Stafford at the helm. But Sean McVay and Les Snead staying in L.A. for a little longer.
Some concert news this morning. If you enjoy going to different venues for concerts, Kauffman Stadium this year going to host a concert with Post Malone and Jelly Roll. It's part of the Big Ass Stadium tour that they've been doing. This is part 2. Part 1, they've been going to a lot of college stadiums. This is the only MLB stadium they're going to. So July 15th, it's on a Wednesday night. I'm kind of intrigued by this one, man. This is
might be out there.
This is a good one. This is a really good name.
That's fine for me, but I know you certainly like both those artists, so it's a good get, I feel like.
For sure.
Better than some of the other concerts, honestly, could have been there.
Yeah.
Next up on What's Trending, the NFL announced it will turn to Madrid to play games in a multi-year partnership. They're also heading to Paris, France for the first time. That makes NFL regular season games confirmed next season in France, or Paris, Madrid, Melbourne, Rio, Munich, plus 3 games will be played in London. So huge international slate next year for the NFL.
NBA-wise, we know we're a couple weeks away from the All-Star Game this year. The new format, it'll be the USA versus the world. All-Star Weekend, February 13th through the 15th out at Clippers Arena, Intuit Dome, where the Clippers play their brand new, supposed to be amazing venue. But anyway, the other story with this, LeBron James, he's on the All-Star roster, but the first time in his career that he's going to come off the bench during that. He was not a starter. We've known the 10 starters 2 weeks ago. We just found out the full roster. Some of the other snubs, I guess, Kawhi Leonard, surprisingly, not an All-Star.
That's surprising. Lastly, on What's Trending, Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow today, which means 6 more weeks of winter.
Nope.
So happy Groundhog Day to those. Although Pop Crave had the stats up, said since 1887 when this started, Punxsutawney Phil and his many relatives, 39% accurate.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Terrible accuracy out of the Punxsutawney Phil
Possibly
clan.
as is evidenced by what we'll see in KC later this week, which is temperatures in the 50s on a regular basis.
Look, dude, my kid tried to get me to a basketball court yesterday to do trick shots. It's like too cold. We gotta wait till it gets warm.
I'm thrilled we're getting 50s, but also we've lived here way too long. 50s for 4 days coming up this weekend. I can't wait. Going to be
Snowstorm in
outside.
2 weeks, probably.
But yeah, March 1st, we could get a 10-inch snowstorm. I mean, we've all been around here long enough. I am excited.
This is the first of 3 fake springs, so when you prepare yourself.
Yeah, but no, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Going to be awesome. Get the car washed, go out and about. I know you might be golfing a little bit. I'm just going to enjoy when I'm out with the dog. It's not miserably cold at 4 a.m. when she needs to go to the bathroom. That's what I'm thrilled about. That is what's trending.
I'll be going on a run. No shirtless photo will be taken. I promise. No,
not warm enough for that yet.
No.
That's when it's really spring.
That's not a promise, but the photo is not going to be taken.
Oh, okay.
So you'll still be shirtless when it's 50?
It's going to be like 59 on Tuesday of next week. I think
you know how this is.
That's a possibility.
And if you know how this is. Like in October, the first day it's 59. I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm jeans.
Oh yeah.
In spring or now February when it's I'm going to be wanting a polo. Yeah, and shorts. So anyway. Excited about that. All right, earlier today, we were really excited to have the new men's basketball coach at Kansas City for the Roos, Mark Turgeon. Great track record, local ties, big-time hire for this university. And we asked him, frankly, why UMKC? Why the Kansas City Roos?
Yeah, that's good to be on, guys. Thanks for having me. But, I wasn't looking for it. I was pretty content. I had kind of mastered retirement, to be honest with you. But my wife and I had talked about maybe moving back to the Midwest. We met at the University of Kansas, and so I didn't even know the job was open. I got a phone call from them, and I was intrigued to listen to see what the commitment was going to be. But the main reason was I wanted to get back to the Midwest. I thought Brandon Martin and Chancellor Agrawal made a commitment to trying to win, which is important. So I thought the leadership was good. And then I just believe in the city. I think it's an amazing city. I'm a Chiefs season ticket holder. I know what the fan bases are like in that area and how much they care about sports. And I feel like if we can just put a good product on the court, we're going to have a great fan base. So, I'm into recruiting Missouri fans and KU fans and K-State fans, whatever it takes. To get the building full, and plus the great UMKC fans too. So I'm excited. It's an opportunity to come home and try to build something special with a program that really doesn't have a lot of tradition or success in the past. So, but I do think there's a great upside to it.
Mark, I'll have to be honest with you. So as I teach at UMKC, I also went there. I also applied for the job. I did not get a call, it turns out. They did not give me an opportunity. But like what, what did you know about UMKC basketball, I guess, up to this point?
Well, I was at Wichita State for 7 years, and I think we played UMKC 3 times in those 7 years, once at Municipal. And so, I know about it. I've followed it. I've continued to follow it. What I do know is that any Division I basketball program with the right people, the right leadership, the right coach, you can win. So I'm hoping that's the case here. I'm planning on that being the case. Do I know every player that's played there over the last 10 years? No, absolutely not. But I've followed the program. I know where the school is. I've been on campus. I actually interviewed for the job probably 31 years ago. I think I was 28, 29 years old. I was assistant at Oregon, and I think my Hunt was the AD at the time, and they gave it to Bob Sunvold back then. So I've kind of followed the program over the last 30 years because I interviewed for it so long ago.
Since I won't be the new head coach, can Alex and I come sit in on a practice at some point, get a view of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a big shut down the practice guy, especially early in the season. Let guys come in and see the team and watch practice. But no, I heard you're a Roo and look forward to develop a relationship with you, and hopefully you guys will do a good job covering us. And hopefully we plan to put on a product that's worth covering. And I told Dr. Martin, I'm not coming there to lose. I'm not going to promise you I'm going to win next year, but I don't have time to not win. And that's the beauty of the portal, and NIL gives you a chance to turn things around pretty quickly. And that's our plan. But it starts with putting together a great staff, which I'm just starting to work on. And then, of course, recruiting the best players you can possibly recruit. And then finally putting a schedule together that's conducive to winning. So those are the 3 most important things on my list right now. I know we've created a little buzz in Kansas City, so keeping players home is going to be a big part of what we're trying to do too. I'm trying to find out who those players are and talking to the right people and do our best to keep them home.
We're talking to Mark Turgeon, new men's basketball coach at Kansas City, UMKC. You mentioned the local area. I imagine your phone is blown up. I mean, with the relationships that you have in college basketball in general, let alone in the Midwest, it's no secret. I mean, the talent pool in Kansas City, we've seen some of these teams over the last couple of years, whether you're looking at what Drake was able to do with some local connections, or Loyola Chicago. I mean, that you would agree, right? There's plenty of talent here in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I heard the 27 class is really, really good. And I heard the 29 class might be the best class in the history. So it could be good timing for me coming in there. But yeah, it is important. I think there's a lot of pride in that area about basketball. We have our Chiefs and our Royals, but basketball is pretty important in the Midwest. So we want to keep these kids home. We want a following. We want people to want to come watch local kids. That doesn't mean we're going to have all local kids. We're going to get the best players we can get. But if a local kid wants to come home and he's good enough, we got to make sure that happens. And that's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to hire a staff that's connected to the area. Obviously, I know a lot of people. You're not joking. I looked at my wife last night about midnight, and I said, "What the hell was I thinking?" Over 500 or 600 texts and phone calls, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now, but I'll get it under control. I've been able to get on the phone this morning and start to get some answers and get some things. And of course, the hype will slow down here in the next 48 hours. Then I can really get to work and try to make Kansas City basketball a better program.
I know you mentioned, your staff and still trying to figure that out. But my understanding, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but is your son going to be coaching with you?
Yeah, absolutely. He was my first hire. Will's coming with me. Will was born to be a coach. I was at Wichita State. He was a young kid. I used to take him home after the games. He was still in his car seat, and he would be telling me how to coach. And I'd have to go to McDonald's and get him a Happy Meal just to get him to shut up about basketball. And I never wanted him to be a coach. I never trained him to be a coach. But it's just in his blood, and it's what he wants to do. So he'll be a great recruiter for me. He'll sell me better than anybody. And he's a really good coach. He's got a great eye for talent, and he loves the game. He's got a great feel for the game. So he'll be with me when I come. And we're working on the staff. I got about 20-some people on my list that I think will be great for that area. I think we need grinders. I think we need guys that are going to flat every day. They think about recruiting and they think about making our players better. And so those are the guys I'm going to try to hire. I'm going to hire grinders, and I'm a grinder. And I didn't go from Topeka Hayden to Maryland not being a grinder. So I think I'm good for the job. I'll grind, I'll work, I'll do whatever it takes to help us be successful.
When you look at NIL, it was really in its infancy when you were last in Maryland. It'd only been around a couple of years, and obviously Kansas City, NIL works quite a bit different than if you're over at Kansas or these others. How did Martin pitch NIL to you, budgets, or how will that work, and I guess keeping some of that local talent?
Well, yeah, we had some healthy conversations, and I wasn't coming unless we had a chance. And I just want to be on the same page with people in the Summit League. I don't want someone, and I've heard St. Thomas, Minnesota has a big booster that could probably write checks. I don't know if it's true or not. They got a brand new arena I heard he was a part of, beautiful arena, and they got a great coach and a nice program. So I just want to be on par with those teams and the teams that I'm going to have to beat in recruiting. I don't know where the Missouri Valley is in that stretch because I plan to recruit against a lot of Missouri Valley teams. I hope to beat Missouri Valley teams for especially local kids. So, we'll get there. Kansas City is a wealthy town. There's a lot of people that love basketball. I know there's a lot of people excited I'm going to be the coach, and I know I'm going to have to wear a lot of hats, and one of it's going to be fundraising. Dr. Martin's good at it, but hopefully I can go in with him and close some deals and make our budget better, and to get the coaches I want, we're going to have the money to get it done. So I came pretty cheap. But I want to have a good staff around me. I want young, energetic guys that are grinders that are going to help us build this thing and do great things.
Well, Mark, my co-host is an adjunct professor at UMKC. I told him he just needs to donate his salary and just start supporting the program as an alum.
Yeah, that'd be a good start. And very unselfish of him.
Yeah, very generous. When you
those guys. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just going back, I was just curious, just going back to what you were saying about you weren't looking for a job, they called you. Was it a hard sell? Or were you once you realized maybe you did miss it when they were talking about the coaching? What did it take to be from the couch to coaching?
Well, I've missed it from day one. I've stepped out. It was whether I missed it enough to come back. And I've told thousands of people I wasn't coming back. There was really only about 2 or 3 jobs that I would take, and UMKC was one of them to get me home. But when they first called, I told my wife, I said, "Hey, it's back home, but it's not in a good place, and they got to show me their commitment." And through conversations with Dr. Martin, they made commitments, and those commitments are going to have to grow for us to continue to grow our program. So they made enough of commitment to me to give us a chance to win right away. That was important. And so I just kept saying, I'm not coming there to be 10-20 next year. I can't do it. It's not my personality. I need to come there and have a fighting chance to win. I'm not promising we're going to win, but I need a chance. So, being able to hire a great staff is important. Being able to have enough NIL money to compete against North Dakota and South Dakota, and North Dakota State and South Dakota and Minnesota and Oral Roberts and Omaha was important. And I think he got us there. And things change, last year's budget's not this year's budget, and NIL, it changes pretty quickly. But, we're not trying to beat Kansas. We're not trying to beat Missouri. They got whatever money they got. They're going to be able to buy players if they want. But we want to be successful in the Summit. We want to be successful against teams like us, and we want to be the best of the teams that are like us. And I don't know why we can't do that with the right staff and the right budget and fixing the schedule to where we can be successful. And every game will be hard for us, but that, all those things are very important for us to get successful. But the bottom line, guys, for this thing to really turn, Kansas City's got to get behind us. The people in Kansas City, they got to buy, if we're going to move to municipal next year and it's a, 10,000 seat arena, we got to sell tickets, and people got to jump on board. If I could do my job and I put a good product on the court, the final piece is going to be the community and their support towards us emotionally, physically, and financially. Because that's really what it's come down to in college basketball and college sports now. And if we get that, we did it at Wichita. I saw it at Wichita. We can do it with Kansas City basketball.
Before we let you go, you mentioned Municipal Auditorium. I know Dr. Martin was on with our morning show earlier today saying, there's some momentum maybe to potentially go back there. Do you think, without, confirming 100% what your plan is as a university, but do you believe that's where you guys need to be playing here sooner rather than later?
Well, I think for a lot of reasons. One, it's a big time arena with a ton of history. I've talked to Kathy Nelson at the Sports Commission and about some things that need to get done there. And if you're getting 8,000 people instead of 2,000 people, it's much better for your budget. So I think Dr. Martin would like to be there. I'm going to come take a look. There's some things that are going to have to be done. Financially, it's going to be a burden on us, and we're going to need some help from the city there. But we're definitely looking at it, and we're looking at it seriously. And I think it would help recruiting if we could, get that building fixed up a little bit. And I think it'd be be able to take recruits into that building and say, this is where we play, and we're getting 8,000 a night. In the big games, we're getting 10,000. I think that's where the city's got to get behind us. But that'll be an administration decision in the end. I can influence it. But it comes down to dollars in the end. And if we can make it work, we're going to try to make it work.
Well, you'll be a lot closer to going to some Chiefs games. It'll make it a lot easier for you and your season tickets,
Yeah, I'm so excited to be back home. And, and then I love the Royals. And I think the Royals are going to be really good this year. I love the pitching staff. And we had some guys some young guys I think will make big steps for us this year. And I love the ownership and what they're doing. I mean, they're just really trying to win, which is great. And so I plan on being at the K a few times this summer, watching some games. And I'm super excited for Kansas City sports. And a little trivia, I was at the 1986, 85, was it 85?
85, yeah.
And I was at the 2015 game clincher in New York with my two boys when they beat the Mets. So I might be the only Royals fan that was at both.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Clinching game. Yeah. So yeah, I got the tickets up in my office here, and they'll come with me to Kansas City basketball. But so I'm a lifelong sports fan there, and it's just I'm super excited to get home. I love Maryland. We've been here 15 years. Two of my kids, that's really all they know. They're East Coast kids, but I'm excited to get home and for this, probably the last chapter of my career and being able to get home and eventually retire in Kansas City, Midwest area is important to me. So I'm excited about that.
So that was Mark Turgeon with us earlier today, the new men's basketball